Let me get my audio. All my notes. Ooh, you introing us?
We're on right now, Steve.
Do you want me to have them start putting out terrain?
Not yet. Hold on a second. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Team Stomping Grounds. We're Stomping Grounds Games and Hobbies in Warminster, Pennsylvania. And tonight we have our third mission. This is the game cast and our beta testing. So thanks all for joining in. And tonight we have a special match for y'all. Let's see. For the mission, let's go ahead and check that out. Alright, so tonight we're going to be going through an Adepticon mission. This is mission number 4 from last year's. This particular mission is going to be an interesting one. These two armies are going to be at clash here. The way you win this game is that if you win more of the primary objectives, you'll get a massacre victory. If you get more of the secondary objectives and as the primary are tied, then you'll get a minor victory. So in this particular instance, the primaries are victory points, which is 1 point per unit that's dead. This mission has heavy metal as well, so heavy support units that are destroyed are worth 2. So whoever has more of those points at the end of the game is going to win that primary objective. The second one, there are 5 objectives, and whoever has more of those objectives at the end of the game, whoever's controlling more of them, will win that objective. Heavy supports also count for scoring on that one. So if one player is able to get both of those, or have one where the other player doesn't have any, or they're tied out, then they'll win a major victory. If those are tied, as in both player has one or neither player has either, then the secondary objectives kick in. So secondary objectives are Slay the Warlord, which is the person that kills the other person's general, First Blood, which is the first person to kill a unit, and Line Breaker, which is having one of your units in the enemy's deployment zone at the end of the game. Whoever has more of these will have a minor victory if the primaries are tied. The one to watch for in this one is First Blood. So let's go in and check it out, who our players are.
Justin Cook, Team Stomping Grounds, Philadelphia, PA.
So our first player, Justin, is a player who needs very little actual introduction here. He's a member of Team ETC for this upcoming 2014 tournament. He was the best tactician at Adepticon 2012, Nova Open 2013 winner, playing a similar list to what he played at Nova. He played the Ovessa star there as well. Obviously, he's added some stuff in, and we'll talk about that later in the match. But certainly a player who needs very minimal actual introduction here. And our other player is John Parsons.
John Parsons, Team Stomping Grounds, Philadelphia, PA.
So John, a slightly lesser known player, as you can see from the rankings up there, he is actually ranked higher than Justin right now, which is a point of ridicule that he likes to point out a lot to Justin. So John was top 4 this past year Torn of Fire Invitational. He also was a bracket winner in Nova 2013, and he also won the Battle for Salvation Cubic Zirconium Award this past year, which not exactly something he wants to mention. Cubic Zirconium is second to last. Second to last bracket winner. So not quite something you want to put on the trophy case, but I guess a bracket's a bracket.
Yeah, it's worthy of note. All right, so let's go over the list here. Justin Cook, he's bringing his Nova winning list. So this is his Ovessa star, which has become widely popular after he's had a lot of success with it. In this one, he has the Bastion as his fortifications. He has Farsight and Ovessa. Farsight is his warlord. That's his general for getting that warlord point. He has 3 crisis suits, all with bonding knives, with no weapons, keeping them bare bones. He has 3 suits of individual crisis suits. They each have a bonding knife and a flamer, just for minimum points and a little bit of damage. And he switches out between these 2 Riptides, which are going to be able to join Ovessa. The one of them, the big shooter, is the heavy burst cannon, who also has target lock and velocity tracker so that he can shoot at planes should there be any, or in this instance, flying monstrous creatures, so that'll be pretty relevant. He also has 2 shielded missile drones and the Talisman, which will help him against denying some of Parsons' powers. The second Riptide that he has the Ion Accelerator with an early warning overdrive and a target lock as well. He can switch in and out these 2 units to help get the buffs from Ovessa and the other commander. He has support from 2 Sky Rays. These guys have the standard obligatory Black Sun filter, and for the Tau side of it, he has a buff commander, which is what we've been calling him. He's a commander that doesn't really do anything for shooting, but he has a lot of the buffs to give him twin length, ignore cover, and then he can choose between a special power each turn. Also gives him hit and run and a little bit of combat damage. The troops for the Tau part are 10 Crute. He also has 3 broadsides with high yield missile pods and advanced targeting race to get those precision strikes and do some more damage. And then, because it's Adepticon and there's infiltrating, there's the required Inquisitor with 3 servo skulls to stop some of that infiltrating and some of the scouting.
It's a tax, but it's one you're willing to pay.
That's right.
So looking at John here, so John is a pretty standard flying monstrous creature demon list. He has Fateweaver, we all know him, we all love him. Powers, he has our Misfortune, Flame Breath, Endurance, and Puppet Master, pretty decent stuff. The Lord of Change has, for his first greater gift, he got the reroll invuln save, and he also got the 4-up Feel No Pain. So both are pretty viable things. He got his Prescience, Scryer's Gaze, and Flickering Fire. So then he has 2 Demon Princes, which both be very relevant in this matchup, mostly because they're scoring with heavy support, which will help out John a little bit, only having 3 troops, even though he has the Portaglyph. So the first one he has, we call him the Sword Prince. He's holding a sword. You'll see him throughout the match. He is the Porta Potty guy. So he's got the Portaglyph on him. He has the basic gift, the Zeech Sword. He has Invisibility, Puppet Master, Flicker Fire. The other Prince, the Axe Prince, because conveniently enough, he has an axe. He has the Grimoire, he has 4+ Feel No Pain, Psychic Shriek, Puppet Master, Flicker Fire. Now, something John went with, he went with the Chaos Sorcerer instead of the extra Demon Prince as his HQ out of Chaos. It's a little bit of a change. It helps out with the points a little bit, but he's got Warp Speed on that guy. Probably not going to be too relevant. He does have a Force Axe, so maybe some extra swings in there might matter. So John has the Cultist and the the Demonettes and Plague Bearers as his troop. Probably not going to be super relevant. He has the Portaglyph. That's going to be primarily where it's going to be. And then the Helldrake. Fire Chicken does what it wants. The Bastion's actually going to be really big. We asked John before the match, and he said the Bastion is for this matchup specifically, so he can hide some of the guys. He can put the Sorcerer in it. He can put a troop unit in it, because he can put 2 things in there. And John said that's going to be real relevant in this match for him. So something of note, though, he does have 3 Puppet Masters as his Psychic Powers, which is going to be pretty big here. If he can get a Puppet Master off on something in that Ovessa Star or a Riptide, that could really be something viable. Also going after a Sky Ray, a lot of viable things for him to Puppet Master, which could really cause some problems for Justin. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out here a little bit.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see. I'm concerned if he's going to be able to get those off on the Sky Rays. He'll be able to empty out all those missiles without Justin being able to fire any of them.
Yeah. So let's go in and we'll start taking a look at the guys placing terrain. We do know from our pregame stuff that John won the die roll. So in Adepticon format, that means John's going to place the first piece of terrain. Also, more importantly, he's going to place the first objective. So I asked both players beforehand what their kind of strategy is going to be while placing terrain. And I know for Justin, since he's going second, he's going to try to kind of counteract where John puts the Bastion, because the Bastion is going to be a pivotal part here.
All right, let's tune into them. You can pull us up as we need to. Yeah, so now we can talk. There's no problem.
All right. So our volume's off. So I have all these things. We want to reference these again at some point.
Yeah, and before we go ahead and start the actual game, we want to introduce ourselves too.
Okay. So yeah, once they're done placing everything, can you guys confirm all of these? I'm going to try to write them down if I hear them, but confirm who on the die roll to go first and what they choose, the night fighting and that, and then we're going to introduce ourselves. Because they're only 30 seconds behind.
We're Mike's dead here. What's up?
No, they can hear us. Oh. So you guys can still hear us. We're having some audio issues right now. We're gonna work out for you here. So what we see here, the guys are are currently placing up their objectives. We do know John won the die roll to go first, so that's what they're doing right now. Is John placed the Bastion? It appears first in the top right corner there. The white Bastion is John's. Justin's going to be the bottom one. So for your guys' reference, John will be on the top of our map today, and Justin will be here on the bottom.
Okay, for those of you on the chat, if you could just give us a little message quick and hear, can you hear the players as well? Something that's interesting here, you guys can see. John is making sure to put his line of sight blocking piece of terrain outside of the range of the Bastion, if the broadsides would be in there. So he puts him outside of the smart missile range, so that he's safe behind there while hiding. He doesn't have any danger of being hit with the no line of sight needed. And
we also saw when Justin was placing his Bastion, he made sure that he had range, at least from his bigger weapons, to get to behind the Bastion. So again, we asked some questions of both players beforehand, and one of the big things John talked about is based on what the die roll is, was really going to determine how he deployed as well, and we'll see that coming up here in a little bit. John had pointed out that the primary thing was for him, if he got a piece big enough to hide all of his demons, he would start the game with all 4 demons on the board and have all 4 demons behind that some set of line set blocking terrain. If he wasn't able to, he was going to only put 2 demons there because he thought he could hide them behind the Bastion, and then start with his sorcerer and a troop inside the Bastion so he'd be able to hide them.
And you can see that he got that piece of terrain there. He's got what it's Christmas for him now. He's got a full piece of terrain there that he can hide all 4 princes behind. Yeah. So he can apply that pressure nice and early, maybe get some Puppet Masters off and eliminate some of that Skyfire from the Sky Race.
So here's a question for you, Matt. So we can see here that both the 2 line of sight blocking, or more, the one that John has is complete line of sight blocking on the bottom level. The one that Justin has on his side, the Ruin, actually has a little bit of some windows down there. What is the focus now for the rest of the game? Both players did tell us in their pregame interview that the center of the field is what they're worried about. Are they going to try to clog the center of the field with terrain, or are they going to try to keep it light?
I don't know that it matters too much for either one. The only difference that I can see for terrain in the center of the table, both players really don't need it too much. As long as John has something that he can fly into, he'll be able to use that invisibility to give himself a 2+ cover save. But most of Cook's army is going to ignore that anyway. So the only thing that I can see that the terrain is going to have relevance for is that if John wants to end up charging the Ovessa star, he'll be reduced to initiative 1 by having to go through terrain.
Which is interesting, and it looks like so far, so it looks like that we have the top left piece, and all the pieces along the perimeter pretty much were placed. There really isn't much in the center of the field. They're really leaving that kind of, the battlefield that both players said were their focus point of the game, table-wise, are being left. John's placing that one area piece there in the middle, but it's still not, he might be, it's still leaving it pretty open. So, yeah, you said that making him charge through was going to be kind of a crucial thing, so it's interesting.
And, whether or not John heeds that idea for his deployment, we've seen that he sometimes messes those things up in general, but
John, no.
Yeah, it can be something that if he wants to charge, it will slow him down, and it'll let Ovessa and the rest of the crew fight him first. And if they can get a smash off, they can insta-kill one of those Demon Princes early.
So we're going through. So for anyone who's not new, who doesn't understand the Adepticon format, so what they're doing right now is they're placing terrain. Adepticon is a blank field with just all the pieces of terrain to the side. They're going to get to place them all now, and then they're going to go through, and then come the rest of the rolls. So the next roll they're going to have is who's going to decide whether or not they're playing first or not. We're going to see a night fight roll. All rolls that are going to be pretty important here. So I asked both players before the game how they felt about going first or second and what they'd prefer. Being an objective game, both players actually wanted to go second, right, just for the opportunity to kind of steal an objective at the last point.
Something that's interesting here for me is that it looks like I'm gonna skip back over to this other page real quick for you, just so we can get the mission back up. The way that it looks right here, it feels like John is so light on kill points that he can get the victory point primary objective more easily than Cook can. He can hunt the little troops, he can get those things down, and he can try to stay alive. However, if John can get second turn, he's going to have a better chance at getting the better chance of getting the objectives. So in my book, this may end up being a game that comes down to first blood. It's not the first time somebody said that. It's not going to be the last time somebody says that. But the advantage of being able to go first in this mission, which if both players are trying to go second, if Cook ends up getting first, he can probably drop a prince if it's within line of sight. And so that it'll end up coming down to something like that. If they both can get one of the primaries, they'll tie out, and it'll come down to secondaries.
Now, it's funny because when I talked to John a little bit about what he thought the value of the portoglyph was going to be in here, and John actually had said he had said that because he's got the advantage on kill points, like you said, he might just not even drop it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't matter to him and he thinks he gets second, the primary reason for getting second is he has then all of his monsters creatures to deny.
Right.
So if John thinks he can get second, or if John gets second, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't drop the portoglyph at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like a last-ditch effort. If he ends up being in a tight spot at turn 5 and he needs to throw it, he can.
So let's see. So we've got some objective plays here. So we have the first one on the top right corner by the Bastion. For anyone at home who's looking at these and is kind of wondering what they are, these are Torn to Fire objective markers. They are from the Invitational. So for anyone who's not aware, torntofire.com. Check it out. A lot of good stuff. As you'll see throughout the match, we've got the next to players' names, we have their ranking. Those are the Torn to Fire rankings. We have Justin is 50th on Torn to Fire, even though he's an ETC member, like we said. John is 25th. One of the people in our booth today, not me, Matt DeFranza, is number 1. For all of you who keep drinking home, 1 means he is the best. He is the best at this. Everything about it. So anything he says, you can probably take as pretty good advice. So John's checking the distance here. Now, why is he checking the distance from... Oh, he was going from Bastion to objective. Okay, so he can hold it and not have the risk of his guys being shot.
That's right, exactly.
Who placed the first objective then?
It was Cook.
And he placed the one over by the Bastion then?
He must have.
That's
I missed that.
Interesting.
Something I do want to point out, guys. For anybody that's watching along, we got no night fight in the first turn, just so people know. And who's getting first here? This is critical. All right, well, while we're waiting to find that out, just so you guys know, Frontline Gaming has provided us with this mat. This is a beautiful mat. It's like a giant mouse pad. It's wonderful to roll on. The models are sliding around perfect, and as you can see, it looks beautiful. So check out their stuff. We will pull up their website later on, but we're going to cue back into the game. It looks like John just gave Justin top of turn.
Okay, so John won the roll, gave it away.
Check 1, 2.
I'm going first. Sure. All right. What are you doing here?
John's power. Just so you guys know, we're working on audio a little bit. It looks like our mics are a little bit confused.
Are they down? Are they off?
Can you hear them? No, we can't.
Okay, I can hear them right now.
When he cast. With the question about the casting, we're gonna have the audio set up so you guys can actually hear the players. So on John's turn, you'll be able to hear when he's casting them. If not, we'll be able to hear them. We'll be able to relay to you guys when they're casting them.
So while Justin's deploying here, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves so the people at home know what's going on. Hey guys, I'm Matt DeFranza. This is Matt Serino, M&M. We got this going on.
Sure, we'll go with that.
So you guys can see what's happening. Anyway, Matt Serino is the owner of Stomping Grounds Games and Hobbies out here in Warminster, Pennsylvania. And we are both members of Team Stomping Grounds. So just so you can see who the face is behind the voice.
Yeah, right? Like they're able to see that. He's the good one. I'm the one wearing pink. That's all you need to know.
You guys are both assistant captains.
We are both assistant captains on Team America.
Yeah.
They're not Team America.
Team America, yeah.
Team America.
Don't tell Ganyo that.
Don't let him know. It's a secret.
We have stolen these. So an interesting thing here we talk about with deployment. We had asked Justin what were his strategies. He was going first or second, and funny enough, before he even knew what psychic powers were, the first thing he said is he doesn't want to get Puppet Master turn 1. Period, under any circumstances. So he said that he really wants to keep stuff back. We do know that all of his troops are currently in reserve as he's placing out things here, but his focus is going to be wherever he thinks John's going to put the Demon Prince. He wants to make sure that they can't make a move, get the Puppet Master off, even though obviously Justin will get first move, so it'll give him a chance to kind of maneuver. He's really in a tough spot. Now, Matt, as a successful tournament player, when you want to be the alpha strike in the aggressive army, how hard is it to be deploying first when they're going to get to counter what you do?
It's tough. I mean, he's got, especially with John's army, John has a small footprint for his deployment. His guys are small, they're tiny, he can hide them pretty easily. So Cook here has the option of a couple things. If he has to anticipate everything that John's going to do, and it's a mark of a good player if you're going first to have really solid deployment. So you can see Justin is throwing his Sky Rays really far back. There's only so much he can do because it's Dawn of War deployment, but the Sky Rays are far enough back to try to avoid that first turn if he gets seized on getting that, what do you call it, the Puppet Master off on one of those Sky Rays. But he's also putting himself in a position where if he's out of range of some Demon Princes, he can go ahead and use Tank Hunter with his commander and try to drop the Bastion. If the Sorcerer and the Cultists are deployed in there, and he's able to drop the Bastion, he has a good chance of getting first blood, which is maybe what the game comes down to.
Which, and it's funny, asking both players, Justin pointed out multiple times throughout our questions to him that first blood was going to be important. And like we said, funny enough, he told me how much he was worried about Puppet Master, and of course John gets 3 Puppet Masters. So as John was rolling Psychic Powers, Justin was a little nervous and definitely was pointing out to us that was really going to kind of dictate some of his play, and especially his deployment. So I asked each player who they thought had the advantage in this matchup. Justin felt it was pretty evenly matched. He thought that Big Guns Never Tire favored both of them, whereas normally it favors John a lot because John's got those big, beefy Demon Princes. It's going to kind of favor both and make it a little more even. John took a much different approach. That was Justin said it was going to be even. John thought the favor was in Justin and thought that Justin's firepower was really going to put a hurting on him. So, Matt, as a tournament player, what do you think? Who do you think has the advantage in this matchup?
I know that John likes to poo-poo his chances of things. You'll always see him in games.
Set yourself up for defeat, so it's an epic come from behind victory always.
That's right. If you check out the video that he was playing in, I think it's our number 4 battle.
Yeah, we played me with the bikes or the demons.
I mean the number 4 battle report that we have up on our YouTube page.
from this past weekend.
Right. If you check that out, when he played Nick Nanavati at the beginning of the game, he made sure to let everybody know that Nick had no chance to come out on top with this, because if Nick won, he was expected to, and if he lost, well, then John's amazing with his list. So John likes to set up those situations. Some people have the no-win situation. John has the always-win situation. So I don't know if situations are quite as bad as he expects them to be. I would probably think more along the lines of Justin. With 3 Puppet Masters, a good set of invisibility, and some good powers, if John's able to get into combat and do some damage, and maybe get a couple of Puppet Masters off to get first blood, I could see him, with bottom of turn, very easily winning the objective markers by contesting and getting first blood to win the game on secondaries.
Now, we asked both players some questions, and it's actually interesting because both of them are attacking the game at a somewhat similar point, and again, in the same sense, incredibly different. So Justin told us that his focus was going to be on killing the small scoring units and getting the objectives because he was worried about kill points because he's at a huge disadvantage of kill points. He also said that he was going to try to be aggressive. His reason for being aggressive is he wants to get in John's face and get John out of that comfort zone. Normally the Flying Monsters Creature Demon list are kind of dancing around and they're playing the slow game and they're playing for later. And Justin's already said that he wants to be aggressive, he wants to be in his face, and wants to put the hurting on him. So Justin's finished deploying here. He's talking about his guys. I guess he says it sounds like he's going to have most of his units deep striking. It sounds like most of his suits deep striking with his crew walking on. We'll confirm that for you guys.
I'm surprised he's not outflanking the crew. He may be, but
he may. We were hard to hear what he was saying in there, but we're going to get that confirmation for you guys right now. So, like I said, Justin's trying to be the aggressor in this matchup. He's trying to get in his face. He's going to try to put him off his comfort zone. And John was kind of playing right into that. John's strategy was to stay away from him, to try to pick off the small units. But what's funny about it is, whereas John said his goal was to focus on picking off Justin's small units, Justin pretty much said that he was going to use his small units to bait John to come out in the open. So we'll see how that plays out.
Sure. Well, we can hope that that John learned his lesson from last time, because Nick baited him out of the building, and he went ahead right for it.
So we have confirmed that the Kroot are going to walk on, which is kind of interesting. So why would you walk the Kroot on as opposed to outflanking it?
The only thing that I can think about in this particular scenario, Justin deployed both of his objectives fairly centrally. So the outflank would take him several turns to get to those objectives.
That's a fantastic way, and I guess because he's deep striking, so he can get to the back ones.
The far ones he can reach fairly easily. The Kroot give him a guaranteed walk on. He can get either of his objectives the turn he walks on. One thing I do want to bring up here, we're going to switch back while John sets up his couple guys. He likes to fandangle those a lot, so we'll come back when he's finally set up. Let's go ahead and take a look at Justin Cook and his, some of the stuff that he's done in the past. Justin Cook, the way that he got on with Team America was that he was able to get... he was able to win the Nova Open last year. So you can check this out here on Torn of Fire. This is Justin's record from the Nova Open last year. So he was taking the same exact army. It doesn't look like he matched up against any demons, which is unusual because there were quite a few there. I think I played 3. But you can see Justin went straight through, got 8 wins, beat a lot of really talented players. He beat Alan Bajarmovich, Alex Fennell. He beat me. He beat Ben Moley. Kurt Klaus. I mean, all these guys are really top-notch players. Kenny Boucher is from down at Spiky Bits with Wrecking Crew. Alexander Fennell's the guy that won LVO. And then Ben Moley is widely considered one of the best players in the world. So this is a really impressive strength for Justin to have gone on.
If we can go back to deployment here, so John is wrapping up his deployment here. So it's interesting. He did tell us that if he was able to protect, he was going to put all 4 demons on the board. I guess he isn't confident about that. So he's got 2 demon princes on the board right now. It looks like we have 3 on the board. Sorry, I missed that one. He's got that one right there behind the building is Kairos. In the back there we have, it looks like the Axe Prince, the 2 other demon princes, the Axe and the Sword Prince. We do know that the Plague Bearers are going to be deep striking. The Demonettes are going to be walking on, which means that unit on top of the Bastion are his cultists.
We're getting confirmation right now to see whether or not those are in the Bastion or on top. So they're inside. Yeah, being on top would be kind of silly for him to do it. So I'm glad to see that he didn't make that mistake.
And you don't need line of sight to try to find
Testing to see if the mic is on.
everything is visible for you, right? Nothing's okay.
Is the Sorcerer also in the building?
We do also know that the Sorcerer is in the Bastion as well, which we kind of figured. Matt, you pointed that out before game, that it's a good spot to hide it. Makes sense.
Port of Fire, Plague Bearers walking, Demonettes, Deep Strike, and Helltrade does as pleases.
So we've confirmed that the Plague Bearers are actually going to be walking in. The Demonettes are going to Deep Strike. The Portaglyph is going to be flying on. So the Portaglyph, as we said, is the Sword Demon Prince. So the 2 of them behind the Bastion are the Axe Demon Prince, who has his Grimoire, and his Lord of Change. So the Grimoire is important to have on the board if you have Kairos on the board. It's going to give him that extra protection. Right. So that makes all the sense in the world. So
one reason, just so you guys know, anybody who's playing demons out there, a real solid reason for having the Demonettes be the one that Deep Strike in is because of their bonus to their run. After they've Deep Striked, they're able to run and get an extra couple inches. So if you're trying to contest an objective or something like that, and you mishap a little further than you wanted to, the Demonettes give you that chance to recover. Whereas the plague drones, or the what do you call it, the plaguelings, whatever they're called, they're not able to run at all. So that you put them down, if you scatter off, you're done.
For anyone who missed, the 4th objective that we're missing is on Justin's side of the field, underneath the bottom level of that terrain close to them. So both sides are deployed. We have seen the handshake. John has declined to try to seize the initiative. Obviously, we said both players wanted to go second. John has no reason to try to give it away.
Right.
So, real quick before they start, oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to start firing off some rolls. So, guys, we're going to get into our game view. We have the clock here. Obviously, part of Adepticon is that the deployment and everything like that and train setup is part of it.
Right, so it's all timed in. We have that clock up for you. You can watch as it goes. And for Angel Gagne, if you're out there, you can go ahead and, I know you've always wanted to time the turn, so you can go ahead and do that at home. Check it out. You got your clock on there.
So, Ion Accelerator for Nova, or for Ovessa has passed. So one of the burst tides failed its overcharge, and the other one has an Ion Accelerator. So Ovessa
passed.
Ovessa passed. One of them did not. One of the burst tides did not, or one of the burst tide didn't, but the other Ion tide did.
The burst tide is the one that failed. He's got the wound on him.
We're going to do the game on you. Try to switch game on you.
Test one.
Kevin, Johnny needs to go up on it.
I know they're almost all right.
Can you turn up their game?
It's clipping in here. It's hitting over in here.
Ooh.
I watch your ears.
John's coughing in our microphone here. Oh, that's good to know. So moving shooting now.
Fast track is limiting their sound.
Well, so here we go. Like we thought, Justin is unloading the Skyrim missiles into the Bastion. For two reasons primarily. First one being that he's trying to make sure our Puppet Master is not going to hose him here by having all those missiles to use. And the second one is just to try to get rid of that Bastion because there's multiple First Bloods. You know, First Blood and kill 2 units. Oh, cover save for it? Oh, no. So there's a wound dealt.
I do. Yeah, I have all this. Yeah. Yep. This guy is going to fire all 6 of his missiles into the back of this wall. That was a little better. Average. See if I can get 6.
So he's shooting now with the other Skyray? Nope, no 6. So all missiles are down. We didn't get a 6, so he's not getting a pen.
I'm going to twin link it for Skyray. So
We're 0.
When your dice, the white dice will be Ovessa, the blue dice will be just the ion.
Where's the preamp? The preamp for this.
I turned it down. I turned it down to try to adjust you guys. We're gonna try to cut audio. Can you change the audio things while you're casting?
So
Whatever the default is.
Justin's placing his large blast from the. He's going with the large blast. He's placing it on top. So we have a. Oh, hit the first one.
Alright, so 2 wounds on him.
Hit again.
In the back. CP2, no cover save. Alright, so I take my mono.
He's taking invuln. No, so we got a wound so far. So the Grimoire is going to take a wound and take the field up pain. Ooh, he's using the. Okay, so this is really big. So there was a wound put on. There was a wound put on the Grimoire. He failed the initial wound. John failed the field up pain and then used his Fateweaver reroll for the turn for the field up pain.
That's interesting.
If you're John here, do you get aggressive with the Fateweaver reroll and go for that right now?
If it's gonna be critical, I mean, the general idea with the reroll for Fateweaver, you want to use it on the 1 critical roll per turn. Yeah, you want to have that on the 1 critical roll per turn on both sides that you can. If it's going to be irrelevant or you don't expect it to be relevant, you can waste it on whatever random thing you want to. Whatever's going to be the best for what your chance is.
Ooh, moving aside, Cam. We're going. We're traveling. All right. So as you can see there, guys, what John's got was all the shots going into. The front Demon Prince there in the back is the Grimoire Demon Prince. And, oh, we got a ruling already. Good thing we have our pocket judge, Jesse Newton, captain of Team Stomping Grounds, here and ready to go. You've seen Jesse judge at Nova Open, and as he was in the front, he was playing in the Invitational and judging during the Open.
He was also head judge at Torn of Fire Invitational.
And one guy died already. So.
Okay, so the cultists are down to 9.
So that's a bunch of wounds. So all those were wounds on the cultists.
The building remains on the table.
Oh, here you go.
It cannot be occupied or battled into place.
Okay, so he destroyed it.
He destroyed the fortification, and all of John's rolls there. He lost. I guess sounds like there were 7 wounds caused to the cultists. All but 1 died. So he's gonna have 2 guys left in that cultist unit.
He's got 2 left. Yeah.
So how big is it if John fails his leadership check and just runs off the table right now?
That's a big deal. I mean, but it's only a big deal not so much for what they can, so much for what those models contribute, but for giving up first blood.
Now what happens when the building goes down to the cultists inside? I mean the sorcerer. I apologize. That's inside.
So the sorcerer is part of the unit. He takes wounds as he would.
Oh, okay. So he's in. Okay, he's
right.
bottled up in there. Gotcha.
The first wound is randomly allocated. If it happens to hit the sorcerer out of the 11 of them, he can just look out, sir, and continues on as normal.
Okay.
But beyond that, he can just wait for the wounds. Like, say if Justin, here's a good move for anybody that has a bastion that's getting blown up. A good move for you to do is to make sure that you're taking just enough wounds to have every single one of them wounded minus 1. So the order that you're going to have that they take the wounds, if it was, say, in this exact same scenario, say Justin were to have gotten 10 wounds. He would take 9 wounds on cultists first, and then his 10th one would be the sorcerer, just so that he did not convey first blood. You wouldn't want to take all 10 on the cultist before you took it on the sorcerer. Take 9 on the cultist, then 1 on the sorcerer.
Excellent insight from an excellent player. As John remarked there, good thing bastions don't give first blood. For any of you at home wondering, the fortifications do not give first blood. They can't actually bleed, but that's actually the reason. It's because they're considered a fortification in a building.
If that was the case, then Necrons would never give up first blood, right? Exactly.
That's it. Playing Necrons at Adepticon, no first blood's given.
Maybe we'll come and use it. I will rip this down
So you can see Justin's going forward with his initial plan. He's advancing cautiously towards the center of the table. The reason for that is because his Ovessa star is going to be able to have the maximum amount of reach on the rest of the table. So anywhere that his princes want to go to try to hide, fly off, wait for that last turn, if they are anywhere near visible, Cook can unload on them.
So like we said, both players want the center of the table. I know both players have said it's where they want to be. I really think it's more important for Justin. Justin's the killing force here. He's the shooting. He's brought the firepower. He has the big guns. He wants those big guns where they can do the most damage. John is kind of nice because he can be mobile, move around. Like we said, the important thing is Justin's going to focus on making John commit. If John can commit to a unit, then it's going to be important for him. All right, here we go. We're going Psychic Powers for John. As you guys can see, we're down to the bottom of turn 1. Let's see what we can find out.
Just for the viewers at home, if you guys have any questions or any comments or anything you want to say to the players, just throw it up in the chat and we'll reply to you as we can.
Yep.
We like the participation. It's a lot of fun.
Can we maybe cut the music and then tear this down and try to work on it real quick? Or do you just want to keep going with how we're going?
I don't know how it sounds. So
I mean, no matter what, this is always live. Like, even with it down, I don't know why.
does it hurt listen to both of us at the same time? We can just cut their audio and tell them playback what they want to for that. Isn't that disruptive?
The front. Do you see what I mean here? How that power light's blinking? I don't know why it's doing that.
On this one? Yeah. That's just audio. That's volume.
No, it's blinking regularly off.
John's still trying to make some decisions of what's going to do for psychic power here. We swear stuff's happening. It's John's thinking. We can smell the burning from behind the booth. So
even if it's mic turned down, you guys are still alive. That wasn't the case. Well, exactly.
I don't know what that was.
So one thing John made sure there is John confirmed that all the shoots could come on. I guess that's going to be really relevant for him because he doesn't want to be too exposed. So the suits aren't really a threat, right? The suits aren't going to do much. I guess the biggest threat for them is their grounding check bots at this point against John.
That really is going to be irrelevant because they have flamers, so they can't hit flying monster creatures.
Oh, I never. Sorry.
And I want to say shout out to Patrick. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate the compliment.
So that white die there is marking for John. He's trying to mark the movement and distance, I guess, at this point, to make sure he can figure out his best lines.
Well, no, like something, even though
Okay, he was checking to see how far up the star could move to try to get line of sight behind the bastion.
Just for guys, we're gonna be killing audio just for a couple of seconds here.
We're gonna be down audio. We'll get you guys updated on what's happening.
Watch your ears.
That's just been on nonstop.
If we need to, what we can do is kill their audio altogether and just talk over it, just to play by play. If it ends up being something we can't work out this time.
Honestly, Sword or Axe not has anything.
Is there a thing like with the mix or anything?
To Rob, your point for the wounds being randomized in the Bastion, I believe you're correct on that. I don't know if they actually rolled for it. But yeah, the first one definitely is randomized, and then after that it's determined by player. Thanks for the comment, Rob.
I'm going to throw Grim.
It's really hard.
How about now? Is it off, or can you still hear it?
I can hear it.
Like, I don't know what the whole difference is. You know what? We just keep going. What we're doing now. What is it? So adjust the mix or anything in there? So only one side goes out here. Listen.
So guys, just to update you guys on what's happening. So John had Kairos cast Endurance on the Grimmar priest. Then the Grimmar Demon Prince. The Grimmar Demon Prince didn't cast anything. Neither did the Lord of Change. I guess because they're going to go for some offensive stuff. They're going to consider going after probably Puppet Master. Hopefully they can get some range. I don't think they're going to have that though. So we'll see what they're trying to do here.
When you guys talk, we need to be candid. It needs to build a balance.
Okay, I want to try something else. We're going to cut audio again, trying to fix these problems. Well, sorry about that.
What are you trying?
Hold on one second.
Just to hear what's going out?
Switching where the audio is coming from.
You guys have a chat up.
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
Listen,
How's that? Let me know when the audio switches over if you can hear it.
Oh, Smurf, you got your answer there? Sorry about that. Yeah, just to explain it, it's that Adepticon, you set up your own terrain, so when you show up at your table, there will just be a pile of terrain at the side of the table. You'll take turns placing terrain. So yeah, whereas Nova has the set terrain, that's one of the big differences for Adepticon. And while we're talking about that, so Matt, as a tournament player, how do you feel about the difference in style of terrain? Do you think it affects the game much?
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed the question there.
Placing terrain versus having terrain preset. What does it? How much does it affect your gameplay, your strategy, things like that?
For me personally, I really like the randomized. The player placement. It's for me, it adds another dimension of strategy. I like that you can plan around being able to set up the terrain you need to, and it's. I mean, the only downside to me for that is that it might not be even, and it takes more time up in the round. But besides that, it's all plus sides. So if you can go ahead and place it yourself, you can base your strategy around the idea of setting up the terrain as you need it to.
So to recap, Psychic Powers this turn, John cast Endurance from Kairos onto the Grimmar Room Priest, or Demon Prince. I keep saying Room Priest. The Inner Space Wolf in me always wants Room Priest. To the Demon Prince, that Demon Prince and the Lord of Change didn't cast anything. So
Cheat the system.
That's what they're doing. Can you hear them?
This is just going into the computer.
Huh?
This is just going into the computer.
It's not going into the computer. It's going into this thing. Just how we had it set up before.
Why is this thing?
What does this thing contribute? That's running into the computer.
Okay.
We can let's just run it straight into the computer.
Sorry all for the complications. There's always something that's going on.
All right, guys, real quick to recap you. So we're already done John's turn. We're actually on the top of turn 2 here for Justin. So John had nothing of interest happen. Like we said, he cast Endurance. The funny thing happened is, so John's Warp Storm table rolled a 6, and then he re-rolled and rolled a 6. So he actually dealt a wound to his own Demon Prince, who now has 2 wounds on him, so he's a little bit more at threat right now. So Justin rolled his reserves. All of his reserves, except for one of the Crisis suits, single suits came in. So just to recap, we have a 3-man Crisis suit unit deep striking, 2 single Crisis suits with Flamers deep striking, and the 10-man Cruider walking on.
So something that's interesting about this, normally that would be a real disadvantage for Cook. But what's interesting about this particular round is that he might be able to kill, with those Flamers, he might be able to kill that last Cultist. If he can kill that last Cultist, he can sacrifice most of his scoring just to get the first blood.
That's definitely a good thing. I mean, as you can see there, so if you guys look at the top right of your screen, above the Torn of Fire chip, that model there is in fact a single suit unit that it was deep struck in.
Either one.
I've been able to hear this whole time, no problem. Me and them.
Listen, give us 2 seconds. This is plugged in. We're swapping that, and we're gonna plug you directly into the computer.
I can hear it just fine. Switch mine.
Okay.
Switch mine with this one. This one and this one.
I moved them back. I was just trying
So
to.
John's deciding where to Justin's deciding where to place his other Crisis suits. So I guess he has a home for him. That guy's right there. We're gonna see if they scatter.
Watch your ear, man.
Yeah, pull that out. This is gonna ring. Don't worry about it.
Oh, he's going right for the middle
This
now.
is a different out.
So a 3-man unit hit is going to go right there in the middle. Now, so that seems like kind of an interesting point. And we heard Justin to say that part of the reason he wants to be able to get them back onto that terrain and kind of split them, I guess he put them that far out. He's going to make them on their jump move and try to come for a good jump move. I guess he's really worried about the Helldrake coming on. As we all know, Helldrake does as Helldrake pleases. So I think it's going to be John's primary hunting implement here for especially these suits. It's surprising to say that with a pretty heavy killing force with Justin here, we still don't have a first blood. Obviously, we think his target's going to be trying to get that single flamer shoot in the back to go after the cultist. But yeah, still not first blood.
Yeah, it looks like he's only committed 1 suit, maybe 2. I can't see the top of the page there, but
it's only 1 suit there, 1 single suit. He's got the 10-man crew walking on. I'm going to go confirm it's 1 single suit.
it doesn't matter that the 3 suits are not going there, because right now they're not actually equipped with any flamers or anything to shoot with. They only have bonding knives. So committing them to the front of the table would just be giving away a free kill point.
All right, I'm just going to get back to where it was.
That is correct. He's placing the other single suit. As you guys can see up there at the top, he's going right. That was actually where he placed the original one. The first one he placed scattered back a little bit. So now he's going to that. So as you can see here, that's where he's placing it. Is right there next to the Torn of Fire objective. Again, tornofire.com. Check out about cool. There's some cool articles. Conveniently, one of their article writers, this really cool dude named Matt. Not me. I know I'm a really cool dude named Matt, but Matt DeFonzi is sitting next to me. Actually, a couple guys in the team right there as well.
Hey. You can hear both players are really cognizant of the idea of first blood because it's quite relevant.
So it looks like that single suit scattered a little bit away. So that was the one to your left of your screen that you're seeing now is the first one he placed. It's scattered back. The one to your right of your screen just past that piece of terrain is the one you just placing out. So that guy is kind of, the one who fell in front of the Bastion is kind of in a bad spot.
Yeah, I don't know if he scattered there or if he meant to place it there. It looks like he's scattered.
No, yeah, it definitely scattered there. So that's definitely. So what do you do now with that? Obviously, it can instead of shooting, he can try to make a jump, or it can make a jump move and try to get away.
Yeah, he can both run and jump. He can get some kind of range on that.
But it's not going to be an offensive weapon this turn at all.
Not at all. No. So Cook has two options with that final suit. The first option is that if you know a unit of yours is going to die, you want to use it for a good purpose. It's kind of like in pool where you want to set up your next shot so that it gives your opponent the worst chance. The second option that he can do to try to make sure that he doesn't get killed is if he runs and then jumps, say, into terrain, he might slow down one of the princes that's going to charge him. He can still get shot at, but if he decides to have to charge to commit, then he won't be able to do anything with it.
So again, we have Justin checking his ranges here.
Something I mentioned in the game cast from this weekend. One of the major things that I see as a distinguishing mark between very good players and average players is the amount of pre-measuring that they do. You'll see in this game, Cook is going to pre-measure a lot, and John's going to do it as well. The more pre-measuring you can do, the better. And for anybody that's trying to improve their game, I would recommend you to just, even if there's no real reason for you, go ahead and pre-measure as much as you can to get in the habit of doing it. I preach it here all the time at the shop. The best defense is to not get shot at. So if you're out of a threat range, it's better than being in threat range and having a 2+ rerollable save with Feel No Pain.
That is for sure. So let's see if we can listen to what.
You did. I had one.
I think it raised the AP action.
Well, I know it's AP too. I know you'll get on. What was the note chart? I haven't taken the rest.
Choose one model from the battlements and place it anywhere only with the screen. The base is only one way. Camera or the audio. The model must be exactly the same modifier for every full single unit. In case it comes out.
So Ovessa took a Nova Charge check and failed, passed the Feel No Pain, so no wound. Justin has not started doing the other Nova Charges yet.
So she failed her rerollables Nova Charge.
Yes, but then passed the Feel No Pain, didn't take the wound. So I guess little victories?
Yeah.
Sure.
If you guys can hear, I think people can hear me. What I was going to try to do is jump out the other 3 broadsides. If I can move the full 6 inches, get them here, join that wall to it, and then give monster hunter. So I get 12 shots on my friends. He only has 2 wounds left. And at this point, when he's playing so defensively, it would be really, it would kind of be worth it. Yeah, because he's worth 2 victory points. It doesn't affect me at all. So. Right.
And so that there, from the mouth of Justin Cook, that right there is some janky stuff. A top player is really going to have something to think about with that, and that's a really good move by Justin. He can give all his buffs from the commander and from everybody else onto the broadsides, and they're the only ones that are going to be able to do enough damage with their smart missile systems and without line of sight blocking. So he'd be able to get extra range by switching over independent characters into a unit that's already deployed in a further position. So he'll be able to stretch the range of those benefits, potentially get first blood and 2 kill points for killing a heavy support Demon Prince.
So yeah, that was what the whole ruling delay was there. And the question they were having is Justin was trying to figure out if he'd be able to get down, get out, get the range, and be able to take that shot that Matt just described to you.
I'm going to warm up the table.
Oh, me, never mind. Wow, really?
Yeah, he's the one you want to talk louder. I'm gonna choose.
You want me to talk louder?
Wow.
It's the first time that
You
ever
guys can
happened
hear them.
in John's entire life. I'm going to
Can you
go
hear
stubborn. I'm stubborn. Yeah, I'm freaking out. I don't even so I'm gonna move. I'm gonna go to movement. Saturday's gonna be there.
So the interesting is Justin's coming up a full 12 inches with the Skyray. He's going to only be snap firing, and he's going to kind of play into what John wanted. John wanted to get Justin to get the Skyrays and those weak troops out in the open. Do you like this move by Justin?
I do, and the only reason is if he's in range to potentially take those last 2 wounds from that prince, this is worth that gamble. This is a lot of the game. First blowout and 2 victory points to Justin if he gets this
Even
play.
though you're talking about just snap firing strength 5 smart missile shots, is that...
It's a bit of a gamble, but the position that Justin is in is still, I mean, I didn't see him pre-measure, but it looks like it's still probably out of range of the prince in order to get the shot back for Puppet Master. I mean, if it's within the 36, then he's putting himself in a precarious position. He may want to fire the Seeker missiles if that's going to happen. If he's planning on doing that, then it's irrelevant. But he would need the smart missile or the marker lights in order for that to be worth it.
The SMS is out of range for Red.
Okay.
Yeah, John wanted it.
That's fine.
I wanted to focus on John's stuff because that's what's going to be getting shot.
This is a good shot, though. I like this. So yeah, they just told us that the smart missiles on the Skyray are going to be out of range. And if that's the case, if Justin's not gaining anything from that move, I'm not sure why he's making it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's setting up for next turn. The problem really is now, and this is kind of interesting. It's something we can reference back to our pregame conversation here. Is Justin wants to force John out in the open. Force John to fight the fair fight, and demons don't really do that. Demons kind of dance around. If you guys just go check out YouTube, our YouTube channel, one of our I Play John the Battle Report back in November, and we have that up there. You can watch, and you can really see the demon strategy, a lot of it, the movement, the trying to stay away from everyone. So I guess if that's the end result, it's not bad. But yeah, with First Blood still on the line, that could just easily feed First Blood.
That's right. It's tough because Justin's in a position where he needs to advance, he needs to pursue, he needs to do some damage here because he has top of turn. The initiative is on Justin. But he also has to dance that line between giving up First Blood, getting First Blood, and not making a mistake here.
That's our sound man, Kevin McNally's very interesting looking midsection. So everyone please make comments about how nice he looks.
And this is a Wednesday night at Stomping Grounds Games and Hobbies in Horsham, PA. You can see all the fellas here playing some games, so if you want to have some fun, come on out.
And apparently the store keeps moving. You've now referenced as Horsham, Hatboro, and Warminster. So
it's in all of these towns at the same time. It's so
magic.
large and so present.
Ha
ha.
So here comes the smart missiles going to the load change here. Ooh, no wounds. Right, here comes a shot at the cultist.
Here's the big move right here.
See if we can get a good view of John's stuff here as it falls horribly.
If you can get this cultist, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it really, I guess if he gets it, it's going to pay off for the risky move with the Skyray, because it's going to get him that first blood. Now it's going for killing. Wound on the cultist.
So he got it, first blood.
So for you guys who missed that, John, look out, sir, the wound from the cultist cat or the cultist lord or HQ onto the sorcerer, which failed. He then used Fadeweaver's reroll, which we've seen John be pretty aggressive with on both turns. It failed again. Cultist goes down. First blood given up. So how much does this determine the game? How big is this for Justin right now?
This is a really big deal. Now all that Justin really needs to worry about is tying the primaries. If all he's looking for is victory, and in a win-loss format, which is what Adepticon is, that's a big deal. So if he can just manage to focus on either victory points or objectives and can get either one of them, he's won the game essentially. So that's why John used the reroll, and the fact that failed is a big deal.
Check.
So for you guys watching at home, in our bottom right, one of our amazing overlays that Mr. Matt Franz has worked out.
Thanks,
You guys see at the top of turn 2, first blood has been awarded to John. John's going to be our right player, or Justin, sorry, is going to be our right player for this. John's our left player. Again, as we always like to point out, 25th ranked John Parsons against 50th ranked Justin Cook. Everyone, next time you see Justin, make sure to point that out and watch Justin's fun reaction. And then you'll see in the bottom corner, oh yes, the SG is for Stomping Grounds, both members of Team Stomping Grounds. You can see the nice little shiny bright sun next to Justin. That means it's his turn for you guys who are watching and just picking up with us. And you'll see in the bottom right corner, a victory point has been obtained.
We lost the stream. Watch out.
We lost it. What's the matter?
I don't know. The stream's down.
It looks like it's still going. We're getting responses and everything. Our bit rate is going.
That count, pause whatever countdown timer you have.
Yeah, just pause the game. Watch out. I'll get out of your way.
Yeah, I don't. It might just be the wireless network is down, and that's why everybody else is down.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm still getting internet.
Yeah. Guys.
Yeah.
What's up?
Hold on. Just I got you. Just.
See you guys. Oh, sorry.
I just said, you told me to talk louder.
Timeouts. I'm pinging Google or getting timeouts.
It might just be our wireless network. Because this is plugged directly in.
It's live right now. It's live right now.
All right, continue. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're live right now.
I want to apologize, everybody. Some of the other guys that were watching said that the stream was down. It looks like it's just our wireless network is down, so that's why all the other guys are down. I'm just verifying everything.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for the interruption, fellas. We're gonna get back right there.
You can even pause this video and leave this open, and you guys can check the chat and everything here. But more importantly, this allows us to see if the stream is down.
Sure.
All right, Patrick, thank you. It's Jesse. I've been talking to you in the chat and everything, but it looks like everything's up. So I'm going to go ahead and get Matt back in here. Sorry, guys.
All right, guys, no problem. Pause off. Here we go. Go ahead live.
The wireless network is down. I'm not going to reboot it to the router.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. We're still on?
All of us are watching.
All right.
Somebody.
Yeah, go nuts.
Yeah, tell Jesse to use his mobile hotspot.
Keep playing. Keep playing.
Matt.
Yeah, keep playing.
What if you log on your iPhone? He's going to do it. We're streaming.
All right, guys, we are back on. We actually lost the stream here at the store and assumed it, but it looks like our wireless network just went down. So we apologize for that short delay. So I got a chance to steal a little insight from Justin Cook, and he said that even though his Skyrays weren't really able to take any useful shots, he's really just doing it to put pressure on and be able to pressure those back objectives for later games. There's 5 objectives, by the way. There's one under there.
Okay.
Rich, they told me to talk about it. I don't get it.
So for those of you guys just tuning in again with us, we are playing an Adepticon mission. It's going to be a practice for the upcoming 2014 Adepticon. So there are 2 primaries in play at the same time. It's kill points and it is objectives. There are 3 objectives on John's side of the table. As you saw, the 2 on the top, and actually this small ruined piece right in front of your screen here. There's the 3rd objective there. There's one by the Bastion. There's one just to the top, and then there are 2 on Justin's side. So the objectives are kind of favoring John's side, which is going to kind of get John moving across, or Justin moving across the table a little bit to be able to contest. And the other primary, as I said, is kill points. And the secondaries, which are very important in this, as you guys can read over there, are Warlord, First Blood, and Linebreaker. Linebreaker should be pretty easy for both these guys to obtain. The Ovessa star has the ability to really get places quickly. First Blood, Matt has already been talking about the extreme importance of First Blood. Justin was just able to get it, and as Matt said, it's going to really swing this game in Justin's favor and make John kind of go aggressive, which we've already said is Justin wants to make John get out in the open. So I think that's really going to put Justin in a good spot for this.
Yeah, as long as Justin is able to get one of the two primaries, he's got this game pretty well wrapped up.
As far as I understand. The star. 7.
So Justin's moving these guys up, trying to get them through terrain here.
And you can see Justin being consistent with his intentionality to be into the center of the table, whereas John has kind of changed tactics at the moment. He's switched off. His guys are really skirting around the end.
Yes, which both players had said before game that was their goal: get to the middle, control it. I guess as much as that's John's kind of goal, I feel like that strategy favors Justin. Justin is one big unit that John has to go after, so a little bit harder, whereas if John moves up with like 4 Demon Princes, Justin just picks one and knocks it down and kills it, and just kind of machine guns down that line. So it's definitely, I think, favoring Justin to get in the middle, because I think if John jumps up in the middle, he's kind of exposed. He's got multiple Demon Princes out in the open. I mean, that just smells like a pile of chaos death.
Yeah, and with second turn, he really doesn't want to be in the center of the table. He wants to play the fly off the table game.
This guy, and this guy.
We're taking dangerous terrains here.
Yeah, that was the same.
Yeah. No.
The players can do that, but casters can do that. You guys are sort of waterboarding.
So another question we asked everyone pregame is what unit do they think is going to be the most important for them? Justin obviously went with the Ovessa Star. Any surprise there, Matt?
Not at all.
I mean, so what does the mass killing power? So for people at home, if you follow on tornafire.com, you've heard about the Ovessa Star. You've seen these Death Stars. Why is the Ovessa Star still kind of staying up there as like the age-old check and kind of or I guess not age-old because not that old, but the why is it standing this test and being this resilient Death Star still?
The real reason is that it's so hard to kill and it puts out so much damage, and it's also for all of its strength and toughness, it's also pretty mobile. What it's able to do is it can put out an incredible amount of damage to flyers, to monstrous creatures, to tanks, to large units. So elite units with good armor saves or small units with a lot of bodies, it can really kill anything. With that buff Mander in there and the variety of being able to choose which Riptide joins the unit, you can really engage any target and pretty effectively. Because of the drones, their majority armor save 4, so grab weapons don't hurt them quite as much, and their average toughness is 6, so most weapons are going to be wounding them on 5s or 6s. So they're really pretty resilient. If you couple that up with Justin Cook, like he plays his Ovessa Star pretty tight. If the models are in the right place, he can look out, sir, to keep maximum resiliency.
So John just tried to pass a psychic power here, and I'm going to go confirm what this was, and then he looks like used the Fateweaver reroll just to make sure it happens. Let me figure out what that was.
What power was that? So he rerolled the 6. He rerolled the 6 and got it, but then he failed for the power.
So yeah, like Matt's been saying, John's been pretty quick to use that favorite reroll, and I gotta say, in this particular instance, it was probably the wrong choice.
And yeah, it was kind of big. He really wanted Scryer's Gates. He wants to be able to control his reserves. He doesn't want to feed Justin anything else. And then Grimoire fails, and can't reroll it. So it's gonna put the Grimoire. It's gonna make Fateweaver maybe go running away. So John had told us before the match that he thought his most important unit was going to be Lord of Change. It's being toughness 6 would allow him to get up there and actually battle toe-to-toe with some of these Riptides. He's worried about the other guys being insta-killed. So I don't know. I think that might be the case, but part of me doesn't know. I feel like John's strength is a lot of it's going to come from the Helldrake. I think a lot of it's going to come from Puppet Master. So to say Lord of Change in combat, does he really want to be trying? Because the only way he's going to get into combat with any of these guys is in the Ovessa Star. You really want to go in the Ovessa Star with just Lord of Change?
No, yeah, that's a fair point. And at this point in this mission, maybe Scryer's Gates is the more important one. The idea is that if it was a flying monster creature, he could just ditch off the table. But the reason why the Lord of Change is such a big deal is because he's got to stay.
So the Demonettes and the Plague Bearers, so with Scryer's Gaze, John was able to roll 3 dice. The Demonettes and Plague Bearers stayed off. The Helldrake has come on.
The one thing that's going to be interesting to see, so the Plague Bearers and the Prince are the ones that are still out.
Oh, Plague Bearers and Prince are still out. Oh, John didn't pass it with 3d6?
Yeah.
Wow.
It doesn't happen all the time, man.
And he triple passed on the Demonettes, I believe he said?
Yeah, that's right.
So Demonettes coming on. Helldrake's coming on.
Right. The one thing that John's got to be careful about is that
and John just scattered off the table and rolled his... So he scatters off the table, he rolls his mishap and rolls a 1, I believe it is. So Justin gets to place the Demonettes, a 2, I apologize. Justin is placing them immediately in front of the killing line. Yeah.
It's a good idea, too, for Justin, because it also gives him the chance to charge them the following turn and get better movement. So it's like getting a free movement phase.
Ooh, great point. Again, reasons you're better than me.
One thing that's super interesting here, I'm curious to see if how John plays the Helldrake. If he plays it too aggressively, he's got to remember that Justin does have Interceptor and Skyfire on that one Riptide. He could lose it before he even gets to use it.
Which, I guess you can't go with that strategy. Use it or lose it. Now, which Riptide is that? That's the Burst Cannon Riptide's got it.
Yep.
Well, it looks like from the list, no, that the Ion Tide has Interceptor, but the Burst Tide has the Skyfire.
Oh, right, okay.
So if you're Justin, let's say that Ion Tide or the Helldrake comes in far enough. Do you have the Ion Tide shoot the Helldrake even though it doesn't have Skyfire, or are you going for those Demonettes, wipe them off now? But like you said, charging them is kind of a strategy he wants to worry about.
Yeah, I don't know that I would use the Ion Tide at this point. It's not bad because you have to remember when you're going to be using that Interceptor, that weapon's not going to be used in the following turn. If he doesn't think it's super critical that he use it in the following turn, he can use it now and then use the Smart Missile System in the next turn.
I don't think so, but there be any reason to use the SMS now and hold the Ion Tide, hold the Ion Accelerator?
Not too much. I mean, he can use the Ion Accelerator to try to cause grounding checks. He can use the Smart Missile System to do the same. But the Smart Missile System is pretty relevant and pretty important because that Sorcerer right now is exposed. He doesn't have anything else that he can join.
So what John's kind of told us here, and he's talking about that right now, is kind of the weakness of what really happened with Grimmar not going off on Fateweaver. So where John's original plan was Grimmar, Fateweaver, be a little more conservative with everything, push Fateweaver out in front and figure, I have a 2-up rerollable invuln save, come at me, do your worst, you won't kill him. I mean, obviously it can still happen. And that all kind of going awry has really caused John to have to rethink his strategy. He's already down first blood. He's already kind of playing from behind. He really is now in a little bit of a tough spot. So as you can see, he's going to try to bring the Helldrake on. It looks like he's going to try to bring on the side, go after those crew, go after maybe that single suit that we see, or the suit that we see right there. Not a bad strategy. It's certainly going to dwindle some of those troops. As we do know from talking with them, Justin's plan was to kind of make John come after his troops. So I guess this somewhat plays into John's strategy, or Justin's strategy of getting him to come forward. So
I'm worried about John committing half-heartedly within stages over the course of the game. If he does an all-out in, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea. Right now he can get the crew. He's forced with the Demonettes to go in there. The problem is he doesn't have the Grim, and he's not going with everything. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with those other 2 princes, and he also chose to keep the 1 prince out. If he were to go in with everything, he has a chance to do some sort of serious damage at one point in time and do a sort of alpha strike against Justin. If he's going in piecemeal like this, he might just hand over little bits at a time.
Now, is that more of the weakness of the elite army? He's only got, in theory, 5 models. The 2 Demon Princes, Lord of Change, Fateweaver, and the Helldrake that really do anything. Is that just kind of a natural weakness? Do they have to all in or all out?
Not always, but in this particular matchup, that's the case. When you're facing an army that doesn't really have much in the way to go against you, then it's not such a big deal. But Justin's army can shoot the Helldrake without suffering any kind of damages. He's got all the secret missiles that can fly at it. So every single thing that John would move forward, Justin can take. So if you were to go at 1 or 2 models forward at a time, he's going to lose both of them each turn. So if he does 2 and 2 and 2, they're all going to be gone 2 and 2 and 2.
So John just flew off the Sword Prince and the Fateweaver, and he rolled his die roll, and he passed. So he got a wound back there on his Sword Priest who has Grimoire, that's relevant. He's got 2 wounds now instead of 1. It lets him. Does he really get more aggressive with it then, or is that just kind of like, okay, a wound, let's write that off as a small victory and keep on going?
Yeah, it's not a real critical thing right now. And you can see John reconsidered. He's pulling back the Helldrake. He's not being super aggressive. I think he's just pretty much chalking up the Demonettes as a loss right there.
Not much you can do, right?
Nothing
I mean, sometimes the dice go against you. John's had some bad dice this game. He has, like we said, used his Fateweaver reroll very aggressively. You think probably not a great idea. It has kind of come back to bite him a little bit. We'll see if it keeps going with that. So he's right now trying to figure out what to do with the Lord of Change. And as John said, that he thinks it's going to be probably his MVP of the game, or have to be. But in a spot he's in right now, I don't think he can. That lone sorcerer is he's just kind of lost.
He's got nowhere to go. He can't hide in any other units. There's no more ablative wounds for him. He can't join a monstrous creature, so he's just sitting out there to be SMS fodder.
Yeah. I mean, I guess 1 is the loneliest number, so 1 sorcerer is in fact the loneliest sorcerer.
Sounds right.
John wishes he had some friends. Vector Strike here. You got 3 hits on the suit. And the suit's dead. So, second blood, I guess as we can pretend to call it here, goes to John. So, John's going to steal himself a victory point in getting that kill. So, small victories, small victories. Alright, so it looks like our Warpstone chart came up as a 10. So John got +1. He has an extra reroll this turn.
Fateweaver's Warlord trait allowed him to reroll from -1 invulnerable to +1 invulnerable.
So John rolled, originally got the -1, got the -1 invuln Warpstone chart. And as you guys know, Fateweaver's Warlord trait lets him reroll the Warpstone. He rerolled the Warpstone and instead got +1 invuln. So are we seeing John having some changing of the tides here? Or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know that it's going to do too much for him. I believe it doesn't. I believe it only affects the models from the Demon's book. So the Helldrake's not going to get that. He's going to have the 5-up. And if he does get the 4-up, correct me. I don't actually own the Chaos book or the Demon book. The only 2 I don't. On purpose. I don't like the bad guys. I like the good guys. Besides that, the Demonettes are going to get a +1, but who cares? John's doing what he can do with them right now.
Hey, now, I saw Wreck-It Ralph. There are no such thing as bad guys.
Yeah. Well, this is not everything is a Disney movie. In the far future of Warhammer, there's only war. The Demonettes are going to get a +1 save here. Not a big deal. John's using them the way he should, which is just to get the most out of their death.
So we did see, we did talk about if Justin was going to intercept or not. He clearly chose to intercept nothing, save all of his big guns. That Ion Tide's the only one to save the Ion Tide for later, for next turn.
John's focusing on that crest suit, getting some wounds on. One of them.
Who are these 8 saves on all in the Helldrake?
That single crisis suit.
Ooh. Suit down. So the Helldrake putting in some work. The Helldrake got us 1 kill point from the Vector Strike. It got us a 2nd kill point on the Flamer attack. And this is one that goes back to one of the things Justin talked about before the match. Justin really talked about how his biggest weakness he felt of the list was the fact that his scoring units are so fragile. And we saw John just come on with very little very little actual effort, take 2 scoring units out of play.
He really needed to do that in order to try to get that first blood. So it wasn't such a bad move for him.
So remember, guys, he actually Justin still actually has 5 scoring units left, even though he only has 3 troops. He has the 2 Sky Wraiths, which are scoring in this one.
That's right.
So this big guns is really going to be clutch in this match. It looks like. So we've got the last suit coming in. It's going to come on the right there. Ooh, 8-inch scatter. It's still not going to a terrible spot. Barely on that table. As you can see in the bottom left of your screen there, he's that lone suit all by himself.
I'm going to Nova Charge.
We got some Nova charges coming up here. This is going to be important for Justin. I think if Justin gets some good Nova charges this turn, he's really going to back a punch. Even though all he has truly is the Helldrake and the Lord of Change. Now, if you're Justin, how much do you just ignore those Demonettes? Well, it looks like he's Nova charging the SMS on the Ion Tide. So it passes. So we have SMS. So I guess the SMS, what's his target here if he's going with SMS?
So the SMS for the Ion Tide, that's the Riptide that's not joined to the Ovessa Star. So he's trying to ripple fire the smart missile systems in order to get the most amount of damage for those Demonettes. Because theoretically, if they stick around, then he's going to be in trouble with that in his own right. Because they can actually do damage with all their running attacks.
And the Burst Cannon Nova Charge and Ovessa's Fusion Guns pass. So they're going Tank Hunter.
That's right. So he's gonna move them forward. Ovessa's Melt-A-Gun. I'm sure Cook has measured this out, but the Melt-A-Gun should be in range of the Helldrake. And the Burst Tide is going to have Rending and Tank Hunter on 12 shots from its heavy burst cannon. So between the two of them, they should be able to drop that Helldrake.
So I know we've been saying Helldrake does as Helldrake pleases. Well, apparently now the Helldrake is going to have to please to die, because I think Justin's going to try to make some short work of it right here.
That's right. I mean, you can see the notoriety that the Hellturkey has, because he came in within 1 turn and has killed 2 units.
So I mean, is a 2-for-1 worth it? I mean, in theory, it's 2 scoring units to 1 non-scoring unit, or I guess did John really need that Helldrake to do more work?
I don't know that he did. That Helldrake, it's really good against the crush suits. It did its job. In this mission, I mean, I'm definitely not one that is for the idea of kill-death ratio is the best way to go. But in this mission, it's kill points and objectives. So John took a non-scoring unit, got double its kill points, and removed 2 things that can claim objectives. So he did really exactly what he needed to do for the purposes of this mission.
Yep.
If John's real hope right now is to get both of the primaries, or get 1 primary and tie, and have Cook tie him on the other. Because if it ends up going to secondaries, Cook probably has the win with first blood.
Yeah. So one of the big things coming up right now is Justin's talking about how all of his suits have the multi-tracker. So if you want to help out the players at home and let them know what that means.
Sure. Multi-tracker for the Tau suits. It comes automatically along with the Black Sun filter. Multi-tracker allows them to fire two weapons in the shooting phase, which is largely irrelevant to the monstrous creatures because they get to do it anyway.
Yep.
But for the Black Sun filter, it gives them night vision, so they don't get to take any bonuses from night fight.
So it looks like he's putting in the shots right now at the Demonettes from the broadside unit.
That makes sense, yeah.
All those dice.
They should be able to remove that pretty quickly.
As you can see, the bottom corner there, the piles of dice that he gets to throw. So is that really a strength you talk about? So we talked about a little bit about the elite army and one of its weaknesses of not being able to fully commit. Is that a strength of the Tau army? Is if you're having bad dice, if you're throwing so many, law of averages has to come in and kind of tilt to your end?
Yeah, and the thing about Justin's particular army, the way that he has it now, this rendition, is that it has both. It has the elite and it has the mass. It's got the best of both worlds. He's got the broadsides to do that mass amount of wounds, mass amount of shots, And the Ovessa Star has the precision shots. It can be exactly what it needs to be at the right time.
So Justin there just shot into the demonettes from the broadsides. He had 20 out of 24 hits, go twin linked, and 19 wounds.
That's incredible.
Demonettes gonna
No
live through
chance.
this.
No chance.
So we'll see John's white dice come barreling in here with some saves. John's fishing for 10 out of 10 saves, and they did get the +1 involved, so small victories, but they're looking pretty dead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just counting dead. Every one of those non-4-ups is just a dead demonette. So demonettes are just gotten obliterated off our field, and
that ties up on the victory points.
It does tie up the victory points, and it's another troop down.
That's right. So that mishap ended up costing John quite a bit.
Yeah. But you kind of expect that of a mishap. Ooh, what's that?
I got 2.
Josh, I'm thinking of Ovessa Star Delamar art.
I'm going to pop 2 marker lights from this guy.
That was him trying to shoot the
secret missiles into it.
He hit 2 marker lights into Heldrick.
Yeah, you can take Ovessa Star.
As one of our booth assistants here, Kevin has pointed out, the broadsides have that keen ability of just randomly killing a 10-man unit, as we all just saw, even with a 4-up involved. Boom. All the bullets.
So yeah, it looks like Justin had a misplay there. He set himself up properly. He Nova charged so that he could double fire Ovessa's melta gun and be in range of the Heldrick, like I was saying, but he decided not to move Ovessa. So you can see now he just realized that he made that mistake.
So just to show you guys at home, even ETC members make mistakes.
That's right.
So practice, play more, don't feel bad about mistakes. I know Matt will be the first to talk about one of the big things I feel like any tournament player needs to know is if you happen to make a mistake, you can't go back in time, just blow it, like just get past it, have that Monday morning quarterback mentality and just keep on moving.
So don't get beat up. Every single time you need to figure out what's your best chance to win. Even if you're down, what you're going to need to do becomes more and more drastic and becomes a little more extreme, even to the point of being silly. But if you're not going to win anyway, that's what you got to do.
But I guess an important thing and the important reason you test and practice is because you make this mistake now and you just won't make it again.
That's
so,
right.
It looks like Justin so far has 5 glances and a pen on the Heldrake. And he hasn't even shot with the burst tide yet. So,
yeah.
Sky firing, tank hunter, rending, twin linked, all of the fire.
This is some pretty good shooting from the tower.
Oh, so it looks like our Justin has confirmed that it will have the 4-up involved save because it is still all demons. So
gotcha. I wasn't sure if it counted because it wasn't part of the demon book.
6s are going to pen here, guys. So Justin's obviously fishing for some mad 6s. I see 1. Okay.
He does have tank hunter though, so he'll be able to reroll all those.
Oh boy. Oh,
so it's like having double the hits.
Oh, there's 2 more. Oh, no, 2 total. 3 pens, 5 glances. We're gonna have to Justin have to glances first. And that's 2 hull points are off it already. So had he not got the +1 involved, it already would have gone down.
That's right.
But I think 3 pens are gonna kind of probably do short work of this. We're looking for 3, 4 pluses for John here.
That's right. It's not unreasonable, but it's unlikely.
It happens, but ooh, it was 5. They found out so he had to roll another one.
Got it.
Saved it. All right. So here you go. 3 more. Yes. All right. So John, what he's going to use Fateweaver.
Oh, it goes down.
So that was the smart use of the Fateweaver roll there, right? I mean, that was good. That's solid. I think we can agree with that. And it's going to scatter. It's scattering 9 inches backwards towards the lone sorcerer. But it misses the sorcerer. Okay.
That unfortunate soul.
It has missed the lone sorcerer. That poor sorcerer.
Yeah, John's right. I don't think that he's gotten the Fateweaver reroll to go his way just yet.
Well, I mean, I guess he did reroll the Scryer's Gaze. But as much as it paid off, we don't. You Matt pointed out that wasn't a good use of the free roll. That Scryer's Gaze wasn't that important. So he got a Fate reroll to go in his favor. It just wasn't the opportune time. We have a judge call on the field. surprise, surprise. For any of you guys who don't know John, he is notorious for forgetting how to play his own. Oh, it's a range issue. Okay.
That's fair.
John is kind of notorious sometimes for forgetting how to play with his own army. They're having a range question, of course. Maybe it's because Justin's tape measure seems to have that odd curve at the end. I don't understand why he's still using that tape measure.
Insert jokes here.
Yeah, boy. Come on now. Justin's Irish. Don't make. Come on. That's not very nice.
We won't say anything. Casey's in the shop.
Yes, his wife is here on hand. She is his biggest fan. So for all of you gamers out there who are involved with Sunny Days, it's good to have a little cheerleader with you.
That's right. Dedicated wife.
So these are shots that the Lord had changed. He has a 4+ rerollable right now. And he's going to take a wound. Okay, so 4 left in the Lord changed. That's not that big a deal. But
That's a day, my friend. Yeah, I mean, you got all your MCs alive.
oh, so for you guys asking home, the rankings that we're talking about, if you go to tornofire.com, click on the rankings page. Torn of Fire has a great thing they do. We're going to toss it up here on the screen for you, but you can go to their individual page, and when stores run events and big GTs and stuff like that, they upload all the results to Torn of Fire. Torn of Fire puts national rankings out. So all of these are the national Torn of Fire rankings based on how you do at grand tournaments. As we said, Matt DeFranza, the booth with me today, is #1. Again, that makes him the best. John Parsons, number 25. Justin Cook is number 50. The rankings themselves are currently down. I'm floating somewhere between 25 and 50 as well. So
yeah, it looks like they're in the process of updating.
They're updating rankings, okay. Yeah. So you can see here, but if you go here normally, you can see all the rankings. You can be able to see the cool stuff. Also, if we go back to the articles tab, you can see some of the cool stuff. If we scroll down a little bit here on the right, you'll see. Keep going. Who is that there at the bottom right? Nothing but our own Team Stomping Grounds Matthew DeFranza, and right below him is Team Stomping Grounds member Andrew Gagno. They are frequent article writers on this web on Torn of Fire, as long as Jesse has written articles, Justin has written articles, John's going to be an article coming out. So needless to say, Team Stomping Grounds, we got some people who do some talking. The Ultimate Weapon is their subscription. I strongly recommend it. It gives you guys a lot more information. You can check out all the stuff, and you can look at some past events here. What do we got here? We're looking at Nova. See, these are all the events here you can look at that were played. So, you got all of these are events that put on there. So some big ones. Also, your local store might run it. So if you guys play at your local store does monthly tournaments, talk to them. Tell them to contact Chip at Torn of Fire. Tell them Team Stomping Grounds sent you, and your local store can run these events as well.
So you can see here on the Ultimate Weapon, we're checking out at the Nova Open how the Tau Empire did against the Chaos Demons over the course of that tournament. Yep. So there were 51 games played. You can see that it's 21-23, pretty even all around, quarters to objectives and kill points. So you can check individually stats on how things are going. Ultimate Weapon is a great tool for improving your game.
Which is awesome. I mean, that's a unique experience you can get nowhere else, being able to see literally that exact matchup on the screen in front of you. So we're seeing here right now, Justin's doing what he said he was going to do. He's moving up, getting in the middle of the field. He's got his Nova charges up. He's done his shooting. He's just making his jumps here at the end. He's just jumping. Yeah, this is the end of his turn 3. He's making his jump turn. So to recap this turn, a huge turn for Justin here. Took out the Demonettes, took out the Helldrakes. The end of 2 was big for John. So one of the things Justin's confirming here is that the Puppet Master picks a single model. It's a Focus Witchfire.
That's right.
So we can agree John's kind of playing from behind right now. He's down an objective. If you're Jonathan Parsons, God help us forever saying that, if you're John Parsons inside that estranged head of his, how do you play this game to try to win?
John's really only chance here is he has to get both of the primaries. So in order to do that, he's doing all right on kill points right now. he's got to be patient. He's got to wait for his chances to get the right opportunities to kill any of those crisis suits when they come down. The only problem is he's got to get some kind of reach to do that. His Helldrake's gone. He can't get across the table in one turn. He's going to be vulnerable the turn that he does it. So, I mean, as Flying Monster Demon Prince armies do, they're going to wait for that turn 5. On turn 5, he's going to jump out, contest objectives, try to get kill points wherever he can. That might be the better play. If he comes in here again, like I said, piecemeal, he's going to get chewed up.
So John just gets Scryer's Gates, goes off without using the Fateweaver reroll. Amazing, it can do it sometimes. So this is important here. It's going to give him the option to go for that, see what he can get, and I think this is the turn, like you said, John's got to pick his attack points, but it's got to be soon, right? As the game dwindles on, even though Justin still has a couple troops left, he has a single suit, a 3-man suit, and the Crute squad. So only three troops. Oh, I'm sorry, and the 2 Skyrays are scoring, which both Skyrays you can see are slowly creeping their way to John's side of the field. Plague Bears, let's see what happened with that. John's gonna keep him out. Good, good.
The tough thing for John right now is
the demon. Here we go. Wow, demon rolls triple out.
So the problem for John right now is he's got a tough choice to make. He's either got to go all in right now, or he's got to try to play and continue the reserve game, wait for the end of the game. What he can do is he can try and go ahead and get that Puppet Master off on one or both of the Skyrays, and he can use it to drop another set of either one of the Skyrays. So he can fire one, Puppet Master it into the other guy, and then potentially get both, and that would net him 4 kill points.
Well, I mean, the only big thing is that the Skyrays don't have any secret missiles left, right? They're only SMS.
I don't think he used them all just yet.
I know I thought he fired all of them into the Bastion turn 1. We're going to confirm that. But yet, an interesting thing, if you guys might have picked up on that, the Franza had said that it's 4 kill points. The big reason being because in Big Guns Never Tire, the heavies are all worth double kill points.
That's right.
So I think it's going to be, I agree, I think it's going to be a big option for him. I'm going to go confirm some options.
Sure. If he ends up making it so that if one of them has Seekers and the other one doesn't, he can pick that one with Seekers, throw it into the one that doesn't. If that one survives, he can use their smart missile systems with another Puppet Master to kill off some of those crew and potentially break them.
No, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Or he can drop one of the crisis suits. There was a single man crisis suit sitting right there.
And you go 2 singles.
So we did confirm that Justin did use all of his secret missiles on turn 1. Yeah, he has blown all secret missiles turn 1. He did for 2 reasons. 1, to try to take a shot at the Bastion, try to knock that guy out. But obviously 2 is he was worried about Puppet Master, exactly like you said. So Justin was, I guess, 1 step ahead of everyone. Knew what was kind of coming and made the move accordingly.
It's really a rather interesting move, actually, because he's almost throwing away those secret missiles. They're not going to be doing anything to the damage. If he does get the random 6 to glance it, then he can potentially kill a cultist. So he's really throwing away those secret missiles, which are really effective against his princes. But the reason to do that is to try to discourage John from using Puppet Master. So it's an interesting backwards tactic. I like it.
Now, would it have been better as another option for Justin to instead keep the Skyrays in the back, keep them out of Puppet Master range, and just save the Seekers for later and save them more as that offensive punch, or you think it's a better idea?
I personally probably would have hid them in the back of the table. I know it's tough when you're trying to get effectiveness out of certain models. You really want to use them before you don't have a chance to. But I like the idea of not shooting when it's not going to guarantee you some sort of benefit. So if he were to stay in the back 6 inches of his table quarter, in his deployment zone, there's no way that John could fly on and use Puppet Master at the same time.
And it's very interesting because Justin did tell us pregame he wants to be the aggressor. He wants to get on offense, get early, and get John on his heels. So maybe, I guess you could say it's aggressive, wasting on secret missiles on the Bastion, but in the same sense, maybe that was a little against his strategy. Like I guess that is more of a defensive tactic and making sure it can't be Puppet Master.
All right, so for those of you who are just tuning in with us now, I see we got a bunch more viewers on. Thanks for tuning in. We are Matt and Matt from Team Stomping Grounds, and tonight we are doing an Adepticon preparation mission, which is John Parsons against Justin Cook, both of them on Team Stomping Grounds. So tonight we have the Adepticon mission number 4. The primary of which is victory points and objectives. The 5 objectives were in the heavy supporter scoring. And the secondaries are all 3 of the ones in the rulebook: Warlord, First Blood, and Linebreaker. So far in the game, Justin has gone first. We're looking at the bottom of turn 3, and Justin did manage to get First Blood off of a really ballsy jump from a crisis suit to kill the final cultist that came out of that bastion. So he's up right now on First Blood, and victory points right now, Justin has 3, while John has 2.
As you can see on our little recap screen in the bottom right. We also have the game timer there.
So we got an hour left in a 2.5 hour round. And just so you guys can see the army list, this is Justin Cook's army list.
Right now, group Fateweaver has a 2+ real ones.
You guys open the chat and see what in control is saying. Yeah. I have it in the one. I have it in the one.
And is he flying? He's aerial right now.
In control.
Yeah.
Well, you don't need to actually post the chat if you don't have to. Just pull this up and look at this while you're looking at me. That's perfectly fair.
So again, guys, if you guys have any questions, anything you want us to update you on, always toss in the chat. We've got it up here. We can check it out, let you know.
Shout out to In Control, Jeff Robinson. Thanks for the post. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. And if you guys have any tips for us, let us know. We're always trying to improve. This is our beginning beta test.
Yeah, as we said, this is our second, our third total live game cast. We had our tournament last weekend, then one last week and one this week. Unfortunately, we will not be doing a live cast. Game cast this upcoming week, as the majority of us will be at Adepticon. So we'll unfortunately, that's going to come up, but we'll be back to you guys.
We'll get back to it.
And we've got some really cool stuff in the work, guys. A lot of options, a lot of things we're working on. So keep us posted.
So Warp Farm Stable just resolved. It's interesting to see what John's going to go ahead and do here.
All right, here we go. Some offense from John. Flicker Fire goes off, max power. Ooh!
Stopped on a 6.
Wow. So one of the big things that a lot of Tau players were always worried about, having the ability to have the 4D 6-9 of the Witch. Do you think it's a weakness for Justin to not have it?
I mean, I was surprised. I don't know if he's using the Arthas Moloch to get those 4D6. It looks like his model is there to use it. I'm not sure if he was throwing about something else, perhaps the Skyray.
Oh, double 6s!
Wow, so
Again,
John just denies again.
The Parsons fail.
So for Velocikitty, you asked about some models. So what we've got here, let's take a look at what we've got right now in the center of the field. So we've got our 2 Skyrays, they're the big tanks on the outside. In the middle is our Ovessa star. We've got Ovessa is the right here in the front of your screen. The off-colored Riptide. To the left of Ovessa is the Ion Tide. The Ion Tide is actually not part of the unit. To the right of it is the Burst Tide. The Burst Tide is part of the unit. So that Death Star, as we're calling it, is Ovessa and the Burst Tide, and they're just kind of going around and causing some pain. The little suits that you see, one off to the left there, bouncing around, are just crisis suit troops. In the Bastion are the broadsides, and you obviously can't see them. Also, along with that, the buff commander. As well, the buff commander is there in the middle. It is Farsight, who is hiding in the Bastion. On John's side of the field, really right now all you can see is off to the right there is a Demon Prince, just kind of hopping around, trying to do something. And then behind the Bastion, you'll see his other Demon Prince. So it looks like behind the Bastion is his Demon Prince, who is carrying the Grimmar. The one out in front there is Kairos Fateweaver, his Warlord. Gonna kind of be the guy who's gonna have to put some work in. Coming up here pretty soon.
And that really unfortunate lonely sorcerer by himself.
Alright, so we got Justin's going to start unloading his Nova Charge here. We're rolling over into the top of turn 4.
No, I'm not even gonna do that. I will monster hunt there. You can't charge me a turn right now, basically anything. So he's gonna move 6 inches up at the sword. So he should be within 30 now, correct?
So again, for you guys just tuning in, we have our fancy way for you guys to stay updated. In the bottom, you'll see the turn counter and kill win stuff like that. And in the top, next to each player's name, you'll see the nice bright shiny sun or sun that shows us whose turn it is. Yes, Chin Squads, that's an excellent point. The weekend after Adepticon, Team Stomping Grounds. Now, some of our guys are going to be playing in the Delaware Open. It's a qualifier for Nova, taking place in Delaware. I strongly advise you guys, if you can, to try to get there. But yeah, we're going to be streaming as well.
So even 2 inches.
Trying to pull up a little more information for you guys right now.
Where's the double webpage? Does the one open up a webpage? Yeah, we can post it in the chat. It's in the chat. It's in the chat. It's in the chat. Go to the chat.
As you guys can see there, the Delaware Open webpage. We're going to pull it up too, just for you watching at home. Check it out, guys. Like we said, we're going to be there streaming, checking it out. We got some guys playing. A few of us. You'll see Justin Cook's going to be playing. Jesse Newton. I believe, Matt, are you playing the event? Matt DeFranz is playing. You'll get to see the #1 Tour in the Fire player playing in the event. I should be there as well. I'll be in the booth, chatting it up, helping you guys out throughout the day, keeping us posted on what's going on. Okay. So, check out the event. It's run by a great group of guys. We have a lot of fun going down to all the guys' Ice House and Delaware Open, so it's going to be a great event.
So shooting.
So Justin really hasn't Nova charged anything. I guess his mindset is it's not really worth the wounds. There's not a lot for him to shoot out. I know it looks like the burst went off, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not worth the risk at this point. So he's shooting the Skyfire marker lights out there to buff the skill of the other guys. He's going to try to put some hurt on Fateweaver.
Now, Fateweaver is flying, so we're going to see if we can get a grounding check here. This I think we're going to be really key on the grounding check. Here comes the first grounding check. All right, so Fateweaver passes it. If you're John and you're trying to keep Fateweaver alive, how aggressive are you getting with re-rolling Fateweaver? Are you saving for the grounding check? Are you saving for potential wounds later?
I mean, John doesn't have to worry too much. He does have a rerollable 2+ invuln, so it's not like it's going to be that hard. It's going to be pretty difficult to kill him. If Justin had something else in there to hit him in combat, maybe tie him up, keep him where he doesn't want to be, I mean, then there's more of a chance for it. But in the meantime, I wouldn't be too worried about it if I was John.
Cage, that's a great question. So to recap the first couple turns, you were right about First Blood. It did go to Tal. As you can see in the bottom right of our screen there, the First Blood icon has been filled in under Justin Cook. So pretty much what happened is John won the roll to go first, opted to let Justin go first instead for objective advantage. There was a little bit of back and forth. Where really kind of turned the tide is Justin was able to destroy the Bastion turn 1, force all of the cultists come out of the Bastion, put a decent number of wounds on them too. Then what happened is, so turn 1 went pretty quickly. Turn 2 then was big. Justin had a suit with a flamer come down next to the cultist, kill off the last cultist. That was our First Blood. Then Justin proceeded to be able to put 3 wounds on the demon, or 4 wounds, I'm sorry, on the demon prince that had the Grimmar, forced everything off the table. Then on the following turn, bottom of turn 2, the Helldrake came on. Helldrake took out 2 of the single crisis suits, and then we hit bottom of turn 3, or top of turn 3, where the Helldrake then died. So far, the majority of the games have been played by the Helldrake. Also, a big thing for John is John's Demonettes tried to deep strike on turn 2. They failed the deep strike, or they mishapped. Justin got to place them where he wanted. Justin put them right in front of his gunline army and just mowed them off the table. So dice have been pretty favoring Justin here. Not that Justin's been rolling particularly well, but John's been rolling particularly poorly. So, if you have any other questions, though, let me know.
And then, well, no, I do have stuff. You want to see it?
Can you move the camera on?
That's a lot of shooting, actually. So, but it hits in 6 rounds. Oh, yeah, you did.
Did it hit the table?
No.
Did they hit it?
This camera, move it over here. This camera that's shooting this way, can we turn that to shoot the other way? Okay, so this is just dumping all these extra shots. We'll see if it ends up mattering. I think John could have been a little more defensive with his deployment of Fateweaver, because he's given him free shots on the Bastion. With the Bastion. All the broadsides in the Bastion are going to be able to get shots off on Fateweaver.
So, Cage, this is an excellent question. We actually interviewed both players before the game, and both players really wanted to go second. The reason being is that it is still a kill points game. How Adepticon works is they have 2 primary objectives in play at the same time. They have 5 objectives are one of the things, and kill points the other thing. So both players wanted second because they wanted to have that opportunity to jump out and get objectives. One of the big strengths of the Ovessa Star is that all of its small units that are together can break off and splinter at the end of a game and just contest objectives. So John really needs to make sure that Justin can't do that. So as much as for, obviously having first gives you first shot and first ability to be offensive, the ability to control those late game objectives really makes going second important.
In this mission, it's really going to be a big deal. For primary objectives, going second allows you to get the objective markers. You can last turn contest and get all that stuff. The downside is you give up the chance to get victory points. But going second again gives you the advantage in that you can choose to be vulnerable if you need to be. You can determine what the points are like, and then choose if you want to put yourself in a vulnerable position to make that last-ditch effort.
Ordo Bob, that's a great. So you talk about John with the Helldrake. We actually talked about that a little bit when it first came on. One of the big things is that yes, John really gave only one thing to shoot at, but the Helldrake did take out 2 individual suits. It came on, vector struck and killed one, and then killed another suit. So as much as he was gonna lose it, there's not really any place he could really hide it on the table to really save it from Justin's firepower. So at least it took out 2 units, both of which are troops. But I'm sure that John right now is kind of having an issue with not having it.
All right. For those of you who are guests to the game of 40k altogether, what's going on here? This is a tabletop game. These models have been built and painted by these players, and what's going on is you have a race of futuristic fellows, the robots, and they're the ones on the bottom there, the red and the black. They're called Tau. They're going against demons, flying monstrous creatures, giant agents of destruction, and all that sort. So what's going on? This is a competitive game where these 2 players are nationally ranked, both 25 and 50, respectively. And what they're doing is they're preparing for their next tournament, which is in Chicago. So they'll be traveling out from Philadelphia to Chicago to play in this tournament. 2 years ago, Justin Cook got Best Tactician in that tournament. John Parsons has had some of his own, maybe less prestigious successes in the past, but as fate would have it, John is currently ranked higher than Justin, but that may change in the near future. So these players now are rolling dice to see what kind of damage they do. The models that they've taken have been what's been allowed to them. They've created these armies based off of rules written down in certain books produced by the company Games Workshop. So the dice that they're throwing down are given the probabilities of the weapons that they have to hit and do damage to the enemy models. The purpose of this game right now is those little white and orange circle counters that are on the table. At the end of the game, which will be a random game length, either 5, 6, or 7, what they'll determine is that whoever has those at the end of the game will end up winning. Those objectives represent the most important aspects of the battlefield. So right now, these two armies are going at it, trying to do some damage. And John does not have very many models on the table. He's kind of in a tough position. First Blood is a big way to get the victory in this game, and Justin is sitting on it right now.
Cage, you are spot on with that. We are using a Frontline gaming mat.
Hey.
They are beautiful mats. Frontline Gaming provides them for sale. We'll be throwing that up here in a second for you. But yeah, we love it. It's great to roll on. The models move flawlessly. It's beautiful looking, as you guys can see from above. We're hoping to expand our collection and get a few more in here, so we give you guys a nice mix up from week to week. But as you'll see here, frontlinegaming.org. Check it out. They've got a ton of different options. If you guys aren't sure what they look like from the picture, you can look right on our screen. They look beautiful. They give you a lot of depth and change to your game for playing on that same wooden table that you always play on from day to day. So, some beautiful mats. Strongly recommended. Great group of guys out there on the West Coast. As you guys can see some more pictures, a ton of different options. And the cool thing is they have a lot of different schemes. They have, you can go to out in the snow. As you see here, we're playing on like kind of a grassy field. So it's really cool.
So from Nimmer Drengen, sorry if I butchered that, but the competitive community for this is a game is actually 25 years old. It's been around for a long time. There's an international community. Justin Cook is currently on Team America, and so he'll be going to Serbia to compete against the best players from each country represented. It's sort of like an Olympics for the tabletop game. So it's kind of that sort of thing, and we appreciate your support and pumping it up and watching along. I hope you enjoy yourself.
We're at 103.
Thank people for tuning in for the first time we ever broke 3 digits.
We'd also like to say, guys, thank you all for joining in. This is our first time breaking 3 digits here for viewership, and this is our 3rd time actually doing this. So we're hoping to keep updating our coverage and bring you guys some more stuff.
Alright, so we're looking at a switch turn now. John Parsons is taking over and trying to do whatever kind of last-ditch efforts he can manage. So we'll see how that turns out for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's really in a tough spot here. The Ovessa Star has taken the center of the field flawlessly, which is something that both players thought were going to be really important on. John's going to try to come on here and see if he can drop some psychic powers and get some action here. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on.
John scoping out the field from down there, trying to see what he can get.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a big thing with Warhammer for you guys. Always make sure to walk around the table and get your different lines. I understand, like, everyone's like, oh, but this is my side table, that's their side table. Don't be afraid to walk across, figure out what your opponent's seeing, because you might get a different angle. You might see, oh, your opponent really can't see this down this shooting lane. Like, as you can see from the bastion to that piece of terrain, it's kind of hard to shoot in there. So that's what John's kind of trying to do. Sneak up inside there, make sure he's not getting shot at, so he can therefore try to protect the one main scoring unit he has left. Obviously, he's got a portaglyph that he's going to throw on here and try to make some more troops.
So, what I'm going to try to do here,
A little bit, anyway. So, I mean, it's a good point that you made out there, because you really want to get a feel for the table. One thing I noticed in a game that I played recently in the Torn of Fire Invitational at, what do you call it? Did our Wi-Fi die?
Oh, Wi-Fi, we're fine.
Okay. One thing that mattered for that is I was playing against Team America player, team member Andrew Gagno, and what I was able to do was, because of my positioning, I could take a Wraith Knight, which is a large model, but I moved him over in such a way that I could block out the rest of his Ovessa Star, the same arm, a very similar army to what Justin's playing right now. So that the one commander in the back, which is really hard to hit, you can't get through all those models really easily, but I moved it in such a way that I blocked off all of his models with a building. So the only guy that was sitting out in the middle of nowhere was the commander, and I was able to focus fire that commander down.
Here's my problem. When I bought them, well, what I am worried about is that
I'm curious to see what John's going to do here. He's got to figure out what's going on.
right now, any bot was turned to happen. Yeah. I need you to get aggressive.
Yeah, John's at a tough spot. I'm not sure what he's going to try to pull here. It's a little late to go all in, and it's too early yet for trying to do a last turn grab. He's turned 4. If he puts himself in a real vulnerable position, it's going to be downhill for him. He might need to fly off.
Is it hard dice now? Is Adepticon hard dice now?
Is Adepticon what?
Hard dice now.
I don't believe Adepticon is hard dice down. I think it's a 15-minute turnover.
So yeah, for Bim Bamboo, when the clock hits the end, they're out of game time. What'll then happen is whoever is the current player, they'll finish out the game turn. A game turn consists of both players having the top and bottom of turns. You see right now we're on the bottom of turn 4. So if the game ended right now, they would finish out turn 4. If the clock runs out in the top of turn 5, they'll finish out turn 5. It's pretty much to keep the players at kind of a pace. Warhammer can go a maximum of 7 turns. At the end of turn 5, they roll a die to determine if the game randomly ends. On the roll of a 1 or 2, the game ends. On turn 6, they roll on the roll of a 1, 2, or 3, the game ends. And on turn 7, the game just ends. So it's kind of some of the variability of the game, that the game can just randomly end. It really kind of puts you at a risk when playing strategically. You can't just know, oh, the game's going to end this turn, get out, do everything, be done. Because if you do that and the game somehow continues, you might put yourself really exposed and out in the open and be able to be shot up.
That's right. So it's sort of a balance to the game. If going second is a really serious advantage, but if you don't know the game's going to end and you last turn grab, if the game does go on, you're in a vulnerable position. So it's a way to balance out that being able to go second.
Silvix, that is a great point. It's something we have figured out we're working on. This is only our 2nd weekly streaming, so we've got a lot of stuff in the works, and yeah, being able to do a little of our John Madden playcasting is certainly something we're excited to be able to do.
Yeah, we're in the beta process right now, so as things improve, we'll definitely get things going on better. I think John right now is deliberating whether or not to use the portal. If he puts that out there, it'll generate more troops, but it potentially gives up more victory points. So he's really got to go for both. He's got to go for broke on this. He's got to get both objectives and victory points. If he loses either one of those, he's probably going to be out of it.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar, the demons have a greater gift they can, or exalted gift, I'm sorry, they can take. That's called a portaglyph. What it is, it's a small portal to the underworld that every turn has a chance to just spawn troops out from the warp. So it's kind of John's last reliable source for a scoring unit. In this particular game, his 2 demon princes, because they're heavy, are going to be able to score, but he's really going to have to try to toss it and just cause Justin to have to go after it and make Justin react to this portaglyph being added on the field.
In all honesty, I mean, if you look at it, John's got 3 objectives on his side of the table. He's got one there on the left right beneath his name. Let's pull this down so we can see better what's going on. So he's got one right there on the top left. He's got one there in the center under the middle building. And the one on the right there. So he's got 3 on his side. Justin only has 2 on his side. If he can play defensively and sit back, he might have a good chance to get objectives that way. So he's really got to focus on staying out of range and getting kill points at the same time. It's a hard boat to get, but maybe he'll get something out of it. And we're switching over now. Justin's starting up to do his buffs, and we're going to be at the top of turn 5, potentially the last game turn.
So, yes, Malad, this is a great point. Obviously, with being able to measure, it kind of might show your opponent what you're doing. These also are 2 highly competitive players, so they both kind of have an idea what each other's doing. But as Ordo pointed out here, that, yeah, you're going to measure everything. These guys are going to look at every single possible line. They're going to measure every distance, so you don't necessarily know until the person actually makes the move what they're actually going to do.
Something that's interesting, too, that you can do a lot of times is you can bait your opponent into thinking you're going to do one thing by checking the measurements on it, and then pull back and switch it around and do something else. It's a good way to make your opponent think twice or worry about a move that he didn't think about before.
Yes, Malad, there is a lot of kind of, I guess, poker-esque aspect. It's a lot of strategy. They're trying to, they're kind of playing. It's almost more of a chess game. They're playing against each other. Obviously, you're not necessarily you can get into close combat. We actually haven't seen any actual combat in this game. Surprisingly enough, a lot of shooting, but yeah, it's a lot of a chess match. So as we're seeing right now is Justin Cook, our player on the bottom, is moving his large riptides. They're these large Gundam type models in the middle. He's using them to get around the side. Justin's currently winning the game. He's got the advantage. He's got more victory points. He has first blood. He's in the driver's seat. What he's trying to do is he's trying to spread his army out a little bit here in the middle so that the 2 demons that John has on top of the screen, if they were trying to move out from behind that building, they're going to get shot at. He's going to punish them for getting out in the open.
So we're going to start off shooting.
It's only online.
I like the idea of a mask. We get some really cool ones. I got some hockey masks at home. I'm down.
Yeah, but look, chats with painted man Barbies that use dice on the table.
Can I get like a Nixon mask? That'd be really cool.
Camera down, camera down.
I am not a bad player. I actually really am. So, all right.
So he's doing some wounds on the flyer.
So yeah, he put some wounds in on. He's shooting the Sky Rays, which have the SMS.
Those tanks here?
Yeah, these two tanks here you see in front of us. So a big thing with Warhammer involves line of sight. So an interesting thing you'll find out, if the model can't actually see what it's shooting at, it can't shoot them. Which is really interesting. I will pull up the mission here right now in a second. But if the model can't actually see what it's shooting at, it can't shoot. The Sky Rays, these two tanks in front of us, have a one of their special guns allows them to shoot things they can't see. So that's kind of what he's trying. Like, so that's a really important aspect to believe. Like this giant wall in front of us right here of the building is really easy for someone to hide behind. But these smart missile systems, which allow him to shoot around them, are helping out a lot. And he was able to put a wound in. John did pass his grounding check.
And so you can see from the top-down view here that they have these two guys that are hiding behind that wall, which the unit can't see through. But those models that don't need line of sight are able to get around it. Just to bring up the mission for you all so you can see it again, this is Adepticon Mission 4. The two primaries are victory points and objectives, the 5 objectives, where heavy support are scoring. That means the artillery units, they're able to claim the objectives as well as just the basic troops. The secondary objectives, if the primaries are not achieved, Slay the Warlord, which is awarded to whatever player kills the enemy general. First Blood, which is the first person to kill a unit, which right now Justin has. And Line Breaker, which is to have one of your units in the enemy's deployment zone, which neither player has currently. Okay, so he's doing mild damage here. Let's see what kind of saves John can get. So the guys in the bastion.
Hi, Chip. I'm waving. You just can't see me.
The guys in the bastion there are firing out there, trying to do some damage.
So if you guys have been with us the entire night, you have heard us often talk about Torn to Fire. They have the cool objective marks on the table. As you see the rankings from the players in the top corner, that's where you're getting it from. They are a national ranking system and tournament running system. Check it out, torntofire.com. They also have great articles. Matt DeFranco, you're seeing next to me in the booth, is a frequent article writer on there, along with Justin Cook is an article writer. So, you know, you can see the guys you're watching play and the guys talking to here are, you know, we have some idea, and there's a lot of cool stuff. As you can see over your screen, torntofire.com.
Yeah, rankings, ultimate weapon, and also writings.
So, check it out. A lot of cool stuff on there.
All right, let's see what he's doing clean up here. He's getting a run move here.
Yeah, it's just a while.
So what's happened this turn, for a quick recap, I know we've been talking a lot, is Justin has put, it looks like,
I love you, Chip.
2 wounds, I believe, on the Demon Prince, and now Justin's just trying to, he's getting his jump move. So Riptides have the ability to make a jetpack move after they shoot, just to kind of move him around a little bit more. He has to roll 2 dice, and you add 2d6, add them up. So what he's doing right now is he's jetpacking. Ooh, 11, that's a big move. He's going to try to use these guys to, 1, get to those objectives. You see our very nice and large Torn to Fire objective markers on the table. He's going to try to get to those objective markers. And to 1, he's able to contest. Because remember, this is turn 5. The game could end this turn. So
he's got to prepare for that activity, that potentiality. So he's also trying to get the line breaker. So his guys are going to be jumping really far, getting close enough to contest. What I'm worried about here is he's exposing himself a little bit, because those princes can still jump over that building and slam into him.
It's so yeah, what's trying to happen right now is there is an objective. That piece of terrain you see, top middle, that small ruin piece, there's an objective underneath that shelf. So what's trying to happen is Justin, that piece right there on your left, Justin's trying to get forward, trying to be there, making sure that if something goes wrong and John tries to end the game, that if the game potentially ends, that Justin's in position to deny everything he can. because the game could end this next turn. We are on the top of 5, so
the game typically runs 5 turns, and that's a chance for both players on each turn. And so it'll randomly end on turn 5, 6, or 7, depending on how the dice roll for it.
So, like we said earlier, the game is a maximum of 7 turns. You see the bottom on turn 5. So at the end of turn 5, they're going to roll a 6-sided dice. On the roll of a 1 or a 2, the game ends. On turn 6, they're going to roll on the roll of a 1, 2, or 3, the game ends. And on turn 7, it just ends. Or as we said, if time runs out, they'll get to finish that entire game turn that they're on. So there's definitely, it's kind of some of the randomness of the game, which is both a blessing and a curse. You know, for Justin's in the dominant driver's seat right now this entire game. But for some reason, if the game randomly ends, Justin could potentially lose this game, even though he has been in the driver's seat the entire time.
And I gotta say, that's something that I really like about this game in particular. You can make it seem like you're in a really strong position, but in the same way that it is in competitive, in war and other competitive aspects, the victory conditions are really what's going to give it to you, not tabling your opponent. So if he can if Justin is killing John the entire time, if these monsters in the center of the table here that we're looking at are dropping off all of those winged guys, it's not going to matter if the winged guys are in the right place at the right time. So at the end of the game, if John can get more of those objectives, then he still has a chance to win this game.
Yeah, so Malad, to answer you, there's actually 2 ways, there's 2 goals going on right now. One of the goals is to kill more units than your opponent. The other goal is to capture more objectives. So in the event that you win one of those 2 and your opponent doesn't get them, you win. In the event you tie, for some reason, if one of them gets objectives and one of them gets more kill points, then you go to your secondary. With your secondary, you can see there on the bottom right, it's First Blood, Warlord, and Linebreaker. First Blood meaning whoever kills the first unit gets First Blood. Only one person can earn this. It's been earned by Justin Cook. Warlord means each army has a Warlord as a general, their leader. So if you kill the person's Warlord, you get your Warlord. Both players can get this. And Linebreaker means if you can end the game with a model in their deployment zone. Deployment zone is where they started the game from, which is their long edge of the table. So both players can get that as well. So right now they're currently battling over the objectives, and they're battling over kill points as well.
So right now, Justin's pretty well up. He's got 3 kill points to John's 2, and he has First Blood on the secondary. So if it comes down to it, he will win on secondaries. And they're trying to figure it out. This is the advantage of the second turn right now. John is going second, so he has the leisure to spend this turn trying to figure out his best chance to win. Right now, he's planning out where he needs to be, what objectives he can grab, which ones he can contest in order to try to potentially get that.
Well, the big thing we have to remember, too, is as you guys can see in the bottom right of your screen where it says victory points, those are your kill points. So currently, Justin has gotten 3. To recap, Justin has killed the Cultist unit, he killed the Demonettes unit, and he killed the Helldrake, the giant flying turkey fire. And John has killed 2 units. He killed 2 single crisis suits that were on the battlefield. So right now, if John still gets more objectives, and if John gets more objectives, he's still going to lose in tiebreakers because Justin has First Blood. So that's a big addition here.
Yeah, and so what's really unique about this right now is that Justin's only holding 2 objectives in the bottom of the table. If the game ends on turn 5, and since John's at a disadvantage, he might need to bank on that. He might need to bank on that 1 or 2 to make the game end this turn. All John needs to do in order to win the primary is to kill 1 more unit and get more objectives. So if he can claim all 3 of those objectives, then he can go ahead and do that pretty easily. So I don't know that he can throw that out though, because he needs to get both objectives. He has 1 in the back corner that he can claim. He can throw the portal out and get another one. He might have to use Fateweaver's reroll to get that. But he's really going to need to, and which is what he's measuring out now, is whether or not he can run far enough to contest that 1 objective that the crew hold. If he can deploy that portal, claim an objective or 2, and then jump up and contest the other one while killing 1 more unit, he'll go up 2 objectives to 1, and the victory points will be tied. So he'll win on primaries, and it won't even come down to secondaries. So John has a long shot victory he can make right here. It's a real Hail Mary, but he might be able to pull it out.
Silvex, we certainly appreciate the recommendation. I know we have been trying to work that. Again, guys, I'm glad you guys are tuning in. We thank you guys again. This is our second live weekly Gamecast. We're going to be trying to add on a lot of stuff. If you have suggestions, check us out on Facebook at Team SG Video. We also have a website, teamsgvideo.com. TeamStompingGrounds.com. I apologize. We're on Facebook at Team Stomping Grounds Video. You can follow us there. Also, we have a YouTube channel. If you go to our SG Tactics, if you go to our website, you'll find that as well. Hit us up on Facebook. Let us know your suggestions, please. We want to add as much as we can to make this as great of an experience, both to watch and learning experience as possible. So we want to do everything we can to add on to it.
Yeah, let us know how we can improve. Thanks. All right, so John's making the moves here. He's flying over. That one prince is getting into a position to drop the portal. The other one's coming across the table to try to potentially get line breaker. And it'll be interesting to see if he can contest one of these objectives.
About the list, yeah, if you go to our
Facebook.
Yeah, if you go to Torn of Fire on the homepage, they have a link to our Facebook page, and which also is the list. Also, if you go to our Facebook page, you can find all the lists posted up there as well. And the Facebook page is right there.
Yeah. Yeah, if it goes to 6, I mean, I don't want to call it, but I mean, kind of feels it.
Yeah, Justin's right there. I mean, John's fighting from behind here, and he's putting himself in a vulnerable position, like we said. And that's why the random game length is pretty entertaining, because he's really being pretty ballsy here. He's putting it all out there. If it ends this turn, he has a chance to win. But if it goes on, Justin is really pretty solidly in the position to win the game. So John is going to be hoping for that last turn stop.
It's to the edge of the bastion, actually.
And that can happen. Let me tell you. I played a game against Mike Brandt, who may be watching, for the Battle for Salvation Championship, and it came down to the same play. I was in John's position. I made an all-out move. I had a couple models left on the table. He'd really been beating me up all game. And then Mike actually rolled the one, which he called he would, and ended the game right there, and I won that championship, which was pretty spectacular. All right, here's John's move. He's putting his Warlord out there. He's putting both princes down. It's going to come down to some key dice right here.
He's going to have to get aggressive here. Again, to keep you guys tuned to what's going on, that model there in front of the Tau firing line is Fateweaver, John's Warlord. Off to the left there, we have our, it looks like our Axe Demon Prince, who I believe is the one with Portalift. Let me look at my notes here.
The interesting thing is that both of those models are scoring, so he can claim both his objectives.
The Axe one is currently the one with the Grimmar. The Grimmar, I guess I'm sorry. The off to the left there is Fateweaver. The one to the right is his Lord of Change. So the one to the far left by our side camera is the one with the Fateweaver. As you can see now on the bottom left, that's the backside view of our Grimmar Demon Prince. The guy top center of your screen is our Portaglyph, and the one to your far bottom right is the Lord of Change. Smurf, we appreciate the shout out. Yeah, as we've said, we've got some top players here. Matt Franz in the booth, #1 on Torn of Fire. John Parsons, #25 on Torn of Fire. Justin Cook, #50th on Torn of Fire. And we are doing this because we really want to help promote this game, help you guys learn. We also have some great videos out on YouTube. Check them out. And all of this is our attempt to help promote the game, help promote the community we got here.
Gross. John needs this game to end. He just got -1 control on his storm table. So if the game does not end, those demon princes are dead. They're just dead.
Yeah, that is really unfortunate. And John's got in a tough position. He gets a random effect at the beginning of every shooting phase, and he just got one that reduced his survivability on all the models that are out there. So as much as he was in a dangerous position before, he's in a really precarious spot right now.
Yes, so going clockwise, we do have Fateweaver, Grimmar, Portaglyph, and Lord of Change. So yeah, John's, because of that role, is all in on this turn.
That's right.
It's got to end this turn for John. Otherwise, I mean,
yeah,
he's got a pile of demon princes who are just asking to be killed.
So, I mean, right now, John does have 3 objectives. He's got the top 2. sitting there with both of those demon princes. They score this mission, and he's got plague drones on the back there. Alright, so he's putting in some shots here, seeing if he can get that kill point. He needs that kill point as well.
He still rolled -1 in roll.
So even with the Fateweaver reroll, he still got it. It stuck with the -1 in Vol. So this is the tough spot, because John not only needs to get the objectives here, he also needs to tie victory points. If he doesn't tie victory points, it's going to tie on primaries and go to secondaries. And Justin has first blood right now.
Yeah, so he re-rolled and still got it. I'm not sure what we're talking about. What stars? Oh, the star symbol next to John's current name. That means that it's currently John's turn. Just so we know, and we can see there it's the bottom of turn 5 as well.
This guy's probably covered for him. Yes.
You need a judge ruling on that?
And I went to ground, and you're greater than 12 inches away, so 7.
So because it is night fight this current turn, because it wasn't earlier, Justin was able to go to ground and was able to save some of his crew. So this is kind of, again, what we're talking about is John right now is trying to, as you can see here as we get to the right of our screen, those small little guys are troops of Justin's. They're small, wooded, I don't know how to describe them, chicken-esque carnivore people. And they're holding that objective inside that building. So what's trying to happen is John's trying to do everything he can to kill them. One, it'll give him a victory point. And he's not going to kill the entire unit, but his hope is that he'll hurt the unit. And in Warhammer, if a unit suffers more than 25% of its models in casualties in a turn, they have to take what's called a leadership check. So every unit has a leadership. The crew are particularly not very well led. I believe the leadership is 7.
Yeah, it is.
So what's going to happen is if Justin suffers more than 25% casualties in this turn, he's going to roll 2 dice, have to roll a 7 or lower. If he rolls higher, the unit gets afraid for their lives and they run away. And if a unit's running, it counts as a kill point when the game ends.
I'm surprised he didn't actually go for the crisis suit now. If he killed the crisis suit, he's got the game won on turn 5. But if he doesn't, he's going to lose this turn.
Yeah, I mean, because he doesn't have Linebreaker. He has nothing. He really needed to get that kill point. I mean, now he is shooting here at the side armor of the... Ooh, he got a pen on the Skyray. 5-up Jinx save. Here we go. It's going to be big. Oh, he passed. Okay. So the Jinx save the Skyray because it's a skimming vehicle. It has the ability to dodge an incoming attack.
Yeah, I think that crisis suit would have been the better move there.
I definitely agree. Yeah.
Here's the morale check. This is big.
Ooh, he failed. They're going to run.
That's big.
8 inches. So if we go back to our top-down viewer, so that crew unit that we just talked about has to run 8 inches off the table. So they're not off the board yet, but the important thing to know is if the game ends, any unit that is fleeing, which is what they're doing right now, counts as a kill point. So if the game ends right now, let's recap for our players here. John has more objectives, 3-2. John would get that extra victory point because the unit running back would count as a victory point. We'd get him to his 3rd victory point. So each player would have 3 victory points. And it looks like John was able to run with his priest and maybe get... All right, here we go.
So John just got Linebreaker.
And John got Linebreaker. It's going to be a roll here. We're going to go to our dice cam. No, it's favoring John. So on the roll of a 1 or a 2, John has pulled victory from the clutches of defeat.
All right, here it is. 1 or 2.
Oh, it's a 3. So we're going to continue with this game.
John,
as we can hear, John from the other room is having quite a reaction to this.
That was a good effort, though. Good effort from John. Close.
So okay. So let's see. All right, let's get back into some insight here from our #1 Torrent of Fire rank player, Matt DeFranco. So, Matt, you're Justin. The turns come back to you. You need to make sure you clean up. What are your focus points? Obviously, the game is pretty well in hand. What are your targets? What are you trying to do? What are we trying to go after?
Really, what I'm going after, I'm pretty much just hunting those 2 demon princes that are on the objectives. If I drop both of them, you get double kill points for each. You eliminate John's ability to get objectives, and it's John really has no chance to come back at that point.
So we did just see Justin was able to rally his crew. So for those of you who don't know, when a unit is falling back like it just was, at the start of their turn, as long as they have more than 25% of their original base size unit remaining, they're able to try to take another leadership check just to hold on. If they pass the leadership check, they get a 3-inch move, so they get to kind of come back. So that's another big one too. So the crew aren't going to run. It's no longer a kill point. I mean, this is a miserable spot right now.
Yeah, John,
for John.
John does not have much of a chance. He put it all out there on turn 5, almost got it. He rolled a 3. I mean, people say it's a game of inches, it's a game of seconds. 40k is definitely a game of pips. It comes down to 1 or 2 pips on the dice, and that's what this one was. If it was just 1 pip less, John had won that game. And John, like he's saying, the Warp Storm table going against him now. So all of his units are really vulnerable because the Warp Storm table went against them. So I mean, even if he did have a chance, it's really slim. The dice really need to go bad for John, or bad for Justin, or really good for John.
Dirksim, if you're having problems and you seem like your games are either being really lopsided, check out our videos on YouTube. We have a lot of cool insight. Also, if you guys have some ideas, some matchups that you want to see played for our weekly battle reports, and we post battle reports twice a month. We post Gamecast once a week. If you have a matchup in particular that you want to see, let us know. We'll fit it into our schedule. We'll get these matchups that you guys want to see.
You found the SMS?
I found the SMS.
How about the birth time?
The first time cast is first. Cast is I'm going to monster hunt. The unit's going to become the 2 guys. The ion.
So to answer your question, the game started. It's a 2.5 hour game, so we're winding down to the final 22 minutes here. As general, this is an Adepticon tournament game, so the Adepticon gives 2.5 hour rounds.
I'm going to move on the ground.
Seer Council versus Grot. I like it. I have the Seer Council. If we can get a Grot army out here, I would definitely play that.
What? Grots? No Grots.
Somebody wants some one-sided matches here.
Boo Grots.
Grots OP, man.
Yes, we did have a 2-minute pause. We had some minor technical difficulties. As we said, this is our second time going after this one, so I'll take this as a good second attempt.
Not too bad. All right, so
Grots. Why? Cage, I've been liking everything you posted. Now you're asking about Grots. Man.
Never, ever.
All right, so again, real quick, just a quick shout out. The table that you're looking at right now is from Table War and Frontline Gaming. Check them out. They have they provided this table and it's really pretty sweet. We'll do a shout out to Reese and his crew over at Frontline, Team Zero Comp, Jeff and Control Robinson and Frankie for helping us out with some of that stuff. If you get a chance to buy one of these mats, if you're looking for something that's going to be useful in your games, this is definitely it. So come on over to this page here, frontlinegaming.org, and pick one up. We're going to be grabbing like 4 or 5 more at Adepticon this year, so
yeah,
we like them that much.
As you can see on the table, expect to see them featured in almost all of our battle reports and our gamecast. They're awesome. For any of you guys who play Magic, imagine giant playmats.
That's right. It's pretty much what this is.
It's pretty sweet. That's nice because it gives you that change of feel of a mat. It's like, oh, I'm not always playing on the same plywood table with some spray paint on it. It gives you a nice change of pace, and it really kind of makes it something neat. So check it out. They look beautiful too. As you can see, the one we have there, it's awesome. It's vibrant. So big fans.
Yeah, we like it.
So for recapping what's happening here right now,
natural end real quick, just because we had some downtime that we had to pause the stream.
Okay.
We paused the clock as well.
Yeah. Well, I told him to just play out natural.
So what's happening here right now? Justin's just trying to. He's pretty much got the game in hand. John was unable to have the game end on turn 5. It puts John in a really bad spot. Justin's goal right now is to make sure to kill off enough to just crush John's hopes and dreams. I'm not saying like the dream crush, but yeah, it's John, and it's a little dream crush. Beast-Star vs. Council would actually be a fantastic match. Conveniently enough, we have both of those here in the store. We have some pretty competent players with both of them, so awesome guys. So yeah, maybe that's That's a great idea. And Frank, we can certainly bring him out with us for the streaming on the top table. Again, guys, as we've been talking about, the Delaware Open, one of you guys can link this again in the chat for us. Check it out. It's going to go on this upcoming weekend. The 2 weekends from now is Adepticon. We won't be having a game cast this coming next week because we'll all be at Adepticon. The following weekend, though, April 12th and 13th, I believe it is, we're going to down to Delaware Open in Delaware. We're going to be game casting. We're going to be down there streaming the event all throughout the day. It's a qualifier for the Nova Open, which is one of the 2 biggest tournaments in the entire country. So check it out if you guys are in the Delaware area. Even if you're guys who are like, we see a lot of guys on stream here like talk about how they played Warhammer a long time ago. If you're in the area, you should check it out. Find your local Games Workshop store. Come check us out online. It's a great game. As you can see, we're going out of our way to bring it to you guys because we think it's that good.
It's a lot of fun. Okay, so Justin's using the guys inside the Bastion doing some damage, so we'll see what they can do with Fateweaver.
There you go, Frank. Frank, can you... Oh, we got the page.
Okay, so he's got his high yields coming out now. He's got rerolls on him. Got 3 hits.
No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is.
To answer your question about the B-Star, I'd have to get Rob back here next time, but he's using mostly the jet bikes and kind of using them as his little jump around unit. Our camera seems to have fallen over. Our side camera, it's back. But yeah, he uses the small jet bike units, kind of jumps around with them.
3/4 angle.
Camera fall.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the crocodiles. No, not sure. So let's see if we can get you guys a slightly better view there with the bottom cam. I have to agree with Chip there that the jet bikes are definitely better. They give you a lot more jumping out and a lot more ability to contest objectives and grab objectives at the end of the game. Yeah, we apologize for the ever-moving camera. Our small camera got knocked over by one of the players. I think John, in his slight frustration, may have taken it out. So again, as we said, Justin's trying to play cleanup here. He's in a great spot. He's got John kind of up against the ropes. So I don't know why we have a giant roll tape with Jesse's hand, but what he's trying to do is he's trying to get a good angle and see if he can shoot as many of the Demon Prince as he can this turn and try to take him out. So yeah, you had a question about that cage. Actually, our B-Star player is Rob_TeamSG. He's tuning in from Rome. He's the guy to ask if we throw up B-Star and Steer Council. He'll be the one piloting it. So if you guys have questions and stuff. Also, we always, on the Monday before a live Gamecast, we always throw up our lists for the Gamecast on our Facebook page. You can check out the list. You can ask questions to the players beforehand, get a little bit more insight, so when we go to the actual Gamecast, you guys are feeling like you've got a good grip of what they're trying to do.
Plus, you can ask questions to the players beforehand, get an idea of what they're feeling.
Also, email us in questions. We'll throw up our email address up here again and all of our information, but you guys can tweet us, Facebook message us, email us questions, like we said, matchups you want to see, all those things, give them to us. We're always looking for great ideas, suggestions, comments. Let us know what you've got so we can help out and bring you guys the best product.
Okay, so let's see what's going on here with this. Justin really just needs to clean up these 2 princes, and he has the game sewn up. He could even use that Skyray to get into John's deployment zone to get Linebreaker himself and guarantee the secondaries.
Oh yeah, sure. We can give you a list. We'll give you a quick rundown, but we'll type it up as well. So Fateweaver has Misfortune, Flame Breath, Endurance, and Puppet Master. The Lord of Change, his first gift is the rerollable Invuln, and he has the 4-up Feel No Pain. His powers are Prescient, Scryer's Gaze, and Flicker Fire. The Sword Demon Prince has the Portaglyph and the Zeech Sword for his greater gift. His psychic powers are Invisibility, Puppet Master, and Flicker Fire. The Axe Prince has a 4+ Feel No Pain and the Grimmar, and he has Psychic Shriek, Puppet Master, and Flicker Fire. And our last sorcerer, he has a Chaos Sorcerer as his Chaos Space Marine HQ, which is hiding all the way top above the Bastion, which you can't see. It has Warp Speed.
No, only 2 of them had mindsight, the other 2 not.
I'm sorry for completely all over the Oh, that's
4 shots. So let me do that one over there.
I don't want to go back on that. Alright. See, all Justin needs to do is a little bit more damage, and that'll be the end of it. To Dorksum, I do not believe that Adepticon is allowing Knights just yet. It's going to be up for discussion in the tournament scene to see whether or not it is going forward, but for this next tournament, I don't believe they are.
And that's a great point about the Nurgle Demon Princes. The big reason, I mean, I'll let Matt take this. He's got a little more insight. So why run the Zeech over the Nurgle Demon Princes, as somebody's asking?
The main reason why people do that, I mean, this list was originally created by Nick Natavati, one of Team America's players. John has shamelessly stolen it. But the reason why Nick chose to deal with the Zeech is that they get to reroll failed saves of 1. And this entire the purpose of this army is to be resilient and to fly off the table, come back when it's necessary. And so that reroll 1 really helps keep them alive. Especially if he can get Grimoire and Forewarning, he'll be able to get what will then be a rerollable 2+ invulnerable save. Or if he gets invisibility and flies into terrain, he'll get a rerollable 2+ cover save, which makes it darn near impossible to kill any of them. If he goes with Nurgle, he gets some bonuses as well, but they're not the same level of resiliency, despite the fact that they're Nurgle and supposed to be. You know, go figure. Burning that Fateweaver roll. It's all gone. All right, so Prince is down.
Oof.
So that's 2 more.
Yeah, so as we said, this is heavy support, so that actually is going to count as 2 victory points. Oh, I changed the victory points.
Yeah, and he's going to lose an objective as well because that one went down.
I changed this up. Trying to get this. So I mean this is kind of what we talked about, is that Justin's job at this point is just kind of close out the game.
Just clean it up.
I mean, he's got the game in hand. You know, don't punt the game as it would be.
Yeah. And like we were saying, I was talking about how all Justin needed to do was tip both of those Demon Princes on the far side of the table, and he's cleaned up the other one, and now he's got this blue one right here. He's just going to town on it. If he dies, the game is pretty much essentially over for John.
So, Bob, that's a good question. The big thing with the Nurgle Princes is obviously they're more of a punch and more of a close combat element. The strategy John took going into this is kind of pretty much dancing with Justin. He's trying to stay on the edges, stay out of Justin's way, give him nothing to shoot at, and just try to play the objective game. It would definitely cause John to change his style of play. I guess you call it the current meta would tell you that the Zeech Princes are better. The rerolling ones is huge, gives them a little bit more defense. They obviously pack a little bit less of a punch. In this particular matchup, though, Matt, do you think the Nurgle would be any better?
I mean, it could be potentially. I mean, if he wanted to go all in with it, he could. But really, John's play is to stay away. This is a bad matchup for John, and we knew that going into it. So it's yeah, I don't know that the Nurgle really does that much for him, enough to make it worth it, especially in the other matches. Even if it did give him a slight advantage in this one, it'd be a deterrent in most of the other matches that he's going to play against. And as some of the guys on the chat have been saying, a big thank you to In Control Jeff Robinson for posting up this link somewhere, I'm imagining, because we saw some of the results of that, some of the guys coming from StarCraft and haven't seen this before. So thanks to anybody who's watching. I hope you're enjoying it.
Also, Chip, Torn of Fire, I know you threw us up on your homepage. We appreciate that a lot. Like we said, guys, we're trying to bring this game to you, make it a little bit more accessible. So that's what we're trying to do. Again, to recap, we're at Stomping Grounds Games and Hobbies in Hatboro, Pennsylvania. In the booth with you is myself, Matt Serino, member of Team Stomping Grounds. With me is #1 overall in Torn of Fire ranking, Matt DeFranza. Also, we're both assistant captains here at Team Stomping Grounds. So yeah, we're glad to bring this. And if you guys see the random side shots of the store, check them out.
For Gomahan, you're asking about whether or not you could take your 3rd Ed Army and jump right into 6th. I guess you need to switch it around depending on the new codex that you have. I mean, that's an obvious thing, but if it depends on really what you're taking. The meta's changed quite a bit, but I mean it's changing month to month. GW's been releasing things like Rapid Fire every month. They've been coming out with a new book, so it really depends. Eldar and Tau right now are on top of things, but we can check this out real quick on Torrent and let you see who's the winning percentages on everything. So right here you can see on the side here most played and most winning armies. So right now Eldar and Tau are at the top of the list. Inquisition is in here, but they're kind of like a secondary book. And Demons are 3. So you see right now you're seeing the #2 versus the #3 army.
So kind of an interesting development here as we watch the game. So first of all, the game's not going to get to turn 7. They're going to run out of time, and like we said, when the clock runs out, as you can see, we're down to 8 minutes left. They're going to finish this game turn, so they're going to finish turn 6. An interesting thing's kind of happened here. So Justin wasn't able to kill both more than one Demon Prince. So to look at it here, they're both tied 2 objectives apiece. This is going to give John a chance to get a Demon Prince over to one of those last objectives and try to get one, or try to contest, more importantly, with Fateweaver. He's still going to have Linebreaker. If John can somehow steal a couple victory points, John still might not be out of this game. I mean, it's a long shot. It's easy for him to get an objective. He doesn't necessarily have to get an objective. If John can come over and kill these Kroot that you see in the bottom left of your screen, or the bottom left of the big map, he can knock them off, which will do a couple things for him. 1, it'll get him the objective lead. 2, it'll get him an extra victory point. So, assuming John can do that, John will stay at 2 objectives because the Fateweaver can't take 1, but Justin will go down to 2 objectives. John will get up to 3 victory points. If John can, so John will be leading objectives. If John can kill just 1 Skyray, because all he needs is 1 Skyray because it's worth 2 victory points, John can, in theory, win objectives by knocking the Kroot off, or just contesting simply. If he can kill a Skyray plus one other unit, John might be able to tie this up in victory points, win objectives, and actually, again, potentially steal this game. So,
which is amazing, really. I mean, the fact that Justin was not able to put that one down is pretty impressive.
So here's a great question. I don't remember who was earlier in our stream was asking how important, like, why wouldn't you take 1st for 2nd? This is why you take 2nd in this particular matchup, because you have control over what's happening. Once Justin passes bottom of turn to John, Justin can't do anything but roll dice in defense. Justin can't strategically make any moves. John is now the strategic leader of this game. John gets to control where everything ends, and he also knows every variable. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows exactly how many objectives he needs to get to, exactly how many victory points. So that's kind of huge.
Yeah.
Yes, they are going to end this turn. As you can see, our clock is at 5 minutes and 30 seconds. We've already told them that this is going to be the final turn. John's like about to finish the turn in 5 minutes. He's got a lot of stuff to do. So
it's going to come down to this.
We're going to focus a little bit more on the game. So, guys, keep sending us your questions. We're going to try to shoot in when possible. We really want to. This is an exciting. We obviously were, it was a huge potential ending on turn 5. This is looking to be a tighter game right now.
I do want to say one thing to Komahan. For Dark Eldar, there is something I do want to say. The guys that are supporting us, the guys that put out this mat here, they do have an article that they have up I want to switch over to it real quick. So the guy Frankie on their team, which I had the opportunity to play on in the Torn of Fire Invitational, has this article right here for Dark Eldar. He goes with Venom spam, so you can read all about that, how Dark Eldar interact with the current meta, and how they do well with it. The two most common builds for Dark Eldar currently are what Frankie runs here, which is Venom spam, and then the other one is the Beast-Star, which is if you go with Khmer and Beastmasters and add Farseers and ally with Eldar. So there's chances for Dark Eldar out there. They're not necessarily the best in the game at the moment, but they do have some people that are leading the pack with them.
So again, as we said, the game is going to end this turn. So to kind of go over what all that entails. So as we said, there are two primary winning objectives in play at the time right now. The first one is objectives. There are 5 objective markers on the table. How you control an objective is either having a troop or, in this particular case, a heavy support unit on the within 3 inches of the objective, and without any enemies in there. That's one way you win. The other way you can win is off having more kill points. Kill points is killing a unit of your enemy counts the kill point. So what's going to happen is, at the end of the game, we're going to see who has more of the primary objectives, which are kill points and objectives. If they're tied, or if neither one of them has any, we then go to the secondary objectives. The secondary objectives are Slay the Warlord, which is whoever kills the opponent's Warlord. Warlord is the general of their army. First Blood, whoever killed the first unit, which currently belongs to Justin, and can't, Justin has it, he can't lose it. And Line Breaker, which is being in the enemy's deployment zone, which is the other end of the table. So right now, what we're happening is we're seeing a great shot here from the side as well on the bottom. John's 2 Demon Princes in the bottom of the board, the 2 guys with wings in the bottom. John's Kairos in the bottom left is currently contesting that objective. John's on the bottom right is currently setting him in a position to try to go for some kill points here at the end.
And so his guy on the top there is giving him line breaker, or is giving him that top objective. So right now, Justin only has 1 objective, which is that center one right there. And John currently has 2. So right now the objective game is on John's side. There's no real way that Justin can take it back. Fateweaver and Lord of Change are down at the bottom. Lord of Change is maintaining John's first blood. If he can manage to he needs to get enough kill points here. So he's really got to drop some of these Sky Rays. I don't know how he's going to go ahead and try to do that.
It definitely looks like Fateweaver, if it's going to shoot at a Sky Ray, is going to be shooting in side armor of it.
Yeah. So, but the one that Fateweaver was shooting at is in the range of the Arthas Moloch, and so he's going to be getting a 46 deny. He'll also be getting a cover save, so it's not super likely that that's going to work for him. The one up top might go down. But that's if that Prince can do some damage to it. So he's really got to kill that troop unit, that Kroot squad on the bottom table right there, those little guys. And that guy up on the top has got to drop that last Prince, or that last Sky Ray. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but I mean, John needs to get 3 victory points here. If he can do that, he's going to win this game straight up, which is really pretty amazing. This should not have been going this way, but John's making some good plays, which is not. Which is not always what he does. So if you watch the last one where he played against Nick Matavati, he really got beat up by making some mistakes, but he's redeeming himself for sure in this game. So, yeah, we'll see if he can pull this off. He got it on turn 5, but he might be able to get it on 6 too.
Kings fans, a great point. What we're actually going to do is we're going to bring each one of the players into the booth here with us. We're going to talk to them. We're going to bring them one at a time. We're going to talk to them, ask them the questions, see how they thought about the game, and we're going to get their insight. Because at the end of the day, you're never going to learn more than from just talking to the actual guy who played the game. So yeah, I mean, we're in a great spot here. I mean, so the game is going to end here, but yeah, the fact that John here is going to try to set up to kill this Sky Ray. The problem is the Sky Ray only gets him 2 victory points, which will bring him up to 4.
That's right.
He'll still be a victory point behind. He has to tie victory points because he's already got objective control. Where's he going to go for the second one is really the question at this point.
He's really got to kill the Kroot. He also has a chance to kill that Sky Ray.
Is there also 1 suit still down there?
I believe there is 1 suit on the inside.
Yes, there is currently 1 suit down there by the Kroot as well.
So Flickerfire might put him down. And from Morgan Donor, yeah, the deployment was Dawn of War in this mission. It's Adepticon mission number 4. No, we'll have the link up after the game. Actually, we can put the link in right here.
Oh, all right. We are officially out of time, guys, for the round. So, again, as we said, for those of you guys who are kind of new to 40K, if you run out of time, what's going to happen is, in particular in Adepticon, they get to finish this game turn. So the game turn is top to bottom. We are in the bottom of 6. So we have out of time. We're going to finish this. This is going to be our last turn. So, kind of excited. Like, oh, here we go. He's taking flicker fire shots. So this is going to be important, guys.
That's interesting. He took off the Lord of Change moved. So I don't know that he's going to be able to get enough kill points here. These victory points, if he doesn't get that Sky Ray, he's gonna lose 2 victory points on that.
Yeah, I don't understand his rationale for going behind and not staying in front.
He loses Line Breaker, but Line Breaker is irrelevant right now. He's trying to overload on the objectives, but he really doesn't need it. I mean,
here comes the warp storm.
By doing that, he does get a chance with those top. 9's not bad for him. By throwing the portal out there, he does have a chance. He just got that top objective with Demonettes, and this Prince now, the purple Prince at the top, he's free now to charge the Sky Ray.
Well, that's a good point, because obviously objectives don't really matter too much to John right now because he's got them. So the Warp Storm's going to try to roll. So how the Warp Storm works is at the start of a cast player's shooting turn, he has a special chart he rolls on, and whenever he rolls, it causes effects to the game. So in this particular one, for every enemy unit he rolls, on a roll of a 6, he gets to deal some damage to it. So this is a free damage for John. Can always kind of be helpful.
So John actually pulled a really interesting move, and I like it. I didn't see it at first, but it was a good call. If the Portaglyph ended up he dropped the Portaglyph and produced some troops there. He has no danger of that going against him because the game's going to be over and he knows it. Those troops claiming that objective allows him to maintain 2 objectives, which is more than Justin, and charge with his Prince, which will give him that 2 points extra. We just got to really hope that John makes that charge. I'm surprised that he didn't move that Prince a little closer to that Sky Ray.
Yeah, boy, I don't think you really thought about that. Yes, the objectives do have they go up 1 level, so it's not going to matter for this. Nothing's more than a 2-level rune anyway. All right, that's big. Yeah, it's a 4-inch. It's 3 inches around the base of it, and it's 6 inches vertical, so it gets the objective.
Can you give us here? Can you give us this view here? The assault.
We're going to try to get you guys a closer view here of what's going on. So John's taking shots both at the Kroot down here is what we're doing right now, and he's also going to try to go after that Sky Ray. So this is what he needs. He needs the Kroot and the Sky Ray.
Try to get the table. Just a little more of the table, too, because we want to see what's happening. Okay.
All right, so we got a bunch of damage on him. All right. So
yeah, 3 wounds left on the Prince.
So yeah, it is still a night fight.
All right.
So he's got 9 cover saves, which is gonna be big.
Yeah, he's got them.
All right, the Kroot are down. That's big. So, like we talked about there, guys, John has gotten his 3rd victory point, and he killed those Kroot. So now, as you guys can see, Dead Server Sage, this is where the game is going to end right here. I apologize for the shakiness. The game is going to end. Ooh. Is Ovessa within 6 in Sky Ray?
Yes,
it is. Yes.
Yes, and he'll be getting that 46 deny.
All right, so this is gonna be the big thing right here. Where is the shooting for this coming from?
I don't know if he's using Fateweaver to do that. I'm not sure why he would.
Why waste the shooting? No, Shava's taking some saves.
Right now, do your test.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What about you're not going to charge there? No.
Well, Operation is never too late of a time to start playing 40k again.
That's right, man. Welcome back, open arms.
Keep following some of our stuff. Check it out. You can learn the game through us. You know, if you have questions, stuff like that, please feel free to hit us up.
It'll help you. It'll be able to get up to date on the current meta without having to spend all the time. Sometimes time is prohibitive, but okay. Here's interesting. Adepticon's allowing the guys inside the Bastion to overwatch with the Tau special rule supporting fire. So it looks like Lord of Change down at the bottom is charging in and he's getting shot at by the Bastion. The broadside's inside.
That's big. Can John potentially give up a kill point if Justin gets a good overwatch?
He could. He would give up a kill point and then also give up the chance to get one himself.
And I mean, he's already is that his Linebreaker guy too, which is important. And the 2-point swing is going to pretty much seal it.
That'll put it under, yeah. He's got 7 hits on him. That's not nothing. Okay, he's all right. Can't fire both. Okay, he's not firing both.
The Lord of Change has 1 wound down, I believe. So it still has 4 left.
Looks like he's got 3 right now.
Oh, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Farsight. Nope. So 5. 5. Just 1.
Bob, it looks like the Lord of Change is going to be charging in to try to get some damage.
But it's only got, it just took a wound there in Overwatch. It has 1 wound left. Is this smart from John? Like, why not go after the Skyray first? Get the Skyray, try to get the 2 victory points, and see if you even need to worry about this. I feel like he's now just...
I think the real reason is that because the Skyray is within 6 inches of the Ovessa star, the entire Ovessa star would have opened up on him, in addition to what happened in the Bastion. So maybe he's trying to save Overwatch damage.
Yeah, the Lord of Change... No, the Lord of Change is charging, it appears, the broadside unit, because he declined to challenge.
Okay, so he just engaged the suit on the outside. There's a bear suit back here, or Farsight, rather.
Yeah.
So he's charging into him. Here comes Big Dice.
I will take it on the suit.
Let's watch these dice. If you can get a kill point here, it's going to be a big deal. Still surprised he didn't charge now. I'm still surprised John didn't charge up here at the top. But
yeah, we thought that was going to be a crucial charge. But yeah. All right, best morale check.
Okay, that's big.
So it's a tie.
I win kill points, you win that.
They just, is at the end of the game, they just straight up drew the game.
So if it comes down to tie, the difficulty is that the tiebreaker for Adepticon is always going to be victory points.
That's the handshake. So we'll have to ask John why he didn't charge at the top, but that's a tie. So John had 3 objectives to Justin's 1. Justin had 5 kill points to John's 3, so they tied the primary. Then you go into the secondary, which is Justin has First Blood, John has Linebreaker, and they have tied the game.
Right, so I believe that Adepticon is going to go down to points destroyed. I'm looking on the page here now, though, and I don't see that as part of the parameters. So it may be that it's just a tactical draw. Let's pull this up for you to see. Down here on the bottom right, you can see conceding or victory conditions. You can get a minor victory, minor defeat, but then it says if they're both tied, it ends in a tactical draw. So yeah, if neither one has secured the primary or the secondary objectives, then the end of the game it's a draw. So it might just be straight up a draw for Adepticon's purposes. So we're going to call it a draw here, which is really pretty spectacular. I mean, John pulled it out. I did not see that coming. I thought he was going to go down. And I'm really curious about this charge here. We're going to get the chance to talk to the players in just a second. I'm going to try to interview John and find out why he didn't try to make this charge.
Yeah, we're going to leave that straight up there. We're going to leave that shot up because that's going to be important.
But first, we're going to have Matt Serino interview Justin Cook, which is the Tau player. So stand by for just 1 second, and we will get that out to you.
Because the way it works. Because the way it works. What
did they say about the draw?
As soon as one person draws,
I did? What? What do you think I did?
You have a 3-0-1, which means you automatically knock out the chance.
Overwatch? I have 1 more. He overwatches? You just what? You can trust Justin. Defend yourself.
No, that would have cost you the game. That would have cost you the game. That would have been terrible.
What are we? Ready? Hey. All right, guys. So here in the booth is Justin Cook, the tie of our game. So, all right, a close game. We were talking with everyone watching the stream. Everyone was pretty confident that after the game didn't end on 5, you were going to have it on 6. What's your thought? Why?
I think I lost a little focus on turn 6, and then I didn't kill that Demon Prince. Like I tried to focus fire into the Demon Prince and into the Lord of Change, and I managed to kill neither, and I needed to really kill at least one of those, because as you saw, like, it didn't matter if that Lord of Change had 4 wounds left or 2 wounds left like it did at the end of the game. I really needed to kill that Demon Prince to secure the win, and kind of screwed that up a little bit, so, you know, it happens.
So what do you think for you was kind of the turning point of the game? When did you, so you were in the driver's seat, when did that really happen for you?
Well, getting First Blood definitely helps, because I don't know if the mic picked it up, but as soon as you force a demon player to start making decisions to try to get ahead, to try to get back, they're risking 300-point models, so they're not risking like trivial units like a unit of like Kroot or something like that. They're risking a 300-point Demon Prince, and as soon as they risk that and something bad happens, like he fails a Grimoire, he could just lose. Like, I mean, it can become the key to beating a demon flying monsters creature list is to cause kind of like a cascade of failure, where one thing happens, forces him to do something. If it fails, he has to do something else that's even more risky, and eventually he's just out of the game.
So real quick, if you guys look at our screen, so one of the big things that we were talking about in the booth is on turn 6, you had the option of taking your burst tide that was there in front, getting that jump, and getting that top middle objective. Why didn't you? Did you feel like contesting that objective was going to give you more of an option? I guess it was turn 5. Why not jump forward? You kind of, at the end of the game, you kind of tucked yourself back.
I always play a little more conservatively with the Riptide Death Star. It's 3 kill points. In a kill point game, it really matters. Like, if he broke it at any point, not even run it down, but broke it and the game ended, he would just win. The Burst Tide is also the Talisman. The Talisman is a really big piece of war gear in this matchup because it gives me 46 to deny the witch, and it's a 12-inch bubble. So there's like, if you look at the screen right now, is the screen up right now? So if you look at the screen right now, both Sky Rays are in. The Star's obviously in. I could have done a few things a little better, turned the bases a little bit, and I could have had the other Riptide in, and probably those Kroot back there. I was surprised he didn't go after my troops. If he had been a little more aggressive, he could have vector struck the Kroot to cause a morale check, and then shot into that Inquisitor and gotten a better result.
Now, we know you had talked pregame that one of your goals was to get to the center of the field and control it. You obviously did that. Yep. Do you think there was ever a time, I know one of the things you talked about was being able to put a little pressure on him with the Sky Rays and with your Riptides. Do you ever feel like you would have wished you had gotten a little bit more across the field?
Yeah, I feel like if I would have gotten... There's diminishing returns with that. Obviously, getting Linebreaker is a big deal. But I could have gotten Linebreaker easily if I had just killed that last wound off of that Demon Prince. The one thing that kept me from getting super aggressive is he has a lot of hiding back here. This board looks really sparse, and the midfield is extremely open. But the one thing he does have is mobility over me, and he does have the Bastion, and the piece of terrain directly across from it is almost a 12-inch line of sight blocking wall that you could hide a Demon Prince behind.
And we definitely got a good look at that throughout the course of the game. Yeah. So our last big question is, you kind of, again, we look at the screen, Kairos coming on the left side of your screen really seemed to be what kind of put him back in the game. Kairos got rid of the, forced the Kroot to run once, it went after it went after the broads or the Chrysler as well. Do you feel like you should have done a better job protecting your flanks? As you look, kind of the sides of the field are very open. We know demons kind of like to live in that outskirts.
Yep.
Do you feel like you would have done better off protecting those a little bit more?
Yeah, Death Stars usually own the middle of the table really well, and they seem to struggle. Where they seem to struggle most is if there is good line of sight blocking terrain around the edges, which there was in this game, and against fast armies. So if you have an MSU army or if you have a fast like flying monsters creature army, you can't just control the entire board. You have to control part of the board, and they control the middle the best. And their troops usually hang out at the edges. It's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you throw your troops into the middle of the table, everybody can focus their fire into the middle and just kill them. If you don't, if you keep them at the edges, things like infiltrators and outflankers, and definitely these flying monsters creatures can just come in and snipe me. So, and that's what he was doing. He was sniping. He sniped. Essentially, would have gotten 2 kill points. The Kroot rallied, thankfully.
Yeah. That would have been holy ballgame.
No,
because then he doesn't have to get aggressive there at the end. He can, we were really surprised, frankly, by the charge going when he charged around behind at Farsight, and we'll bring back up the screen again on screen 3 when he charged at the bottom there.
Yeah.
We were kind of surprised that he didn't charge there and then come down with the Demon Prince. We know that the Demon Prince only had
I'll tell you what would have happened, and this would have cost him the game if he would have done that. MS uses multiple small units. I just got asked by somebody what that is. It's multiple small units, so it's a strategy that's not really prevalent in the metagame right now, but essentially think of an army, if it's 1850, think of an army that has 15 to 20 small threats. They're not overwhelming threats like a Death Star, but they're units like single or maybe 2 crisis suits with plasma guns, like a bunch of sky rays, a bunch of mechanized units, like small units of fire warriors and devilfish. If you're just talking about Tau, Eldar also does it really well. So back to the screen here. So this would have cost him the game, actually. I'm really surprised I didn't kill the Lord of Change on Overwatch. And if he would have done that, I was saving the star specifically to Overwatch into the Overwatch for supporting fire when he charged the other Skyray. If he would have done that, he would have swung from getting that 1 kill point that he netted by killing that single crisis suit by rolling terrible in close combat, to losing the Lord of Change. Potentially, I don't know if he has Linebreaker right now with where Karos is, so he wouldn't have had Linebreaker potentially, and he would have given up 2 more kill points and an objective for that Demon Prince up there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean that would have been that's a swing from a tie that he just pulled off to pretty much a crushing loss.
Yeah. So real quick, we'll wrap up before we bring in Matt and John in the booth. So you're going to Adepticon. Is this pretty much what you're thinking about, right? Is this along the lines of what you're looking at?
Yeah, I gotta think about some stuff, because I always waver whether or not I want to run Ovessa or I want to run like Grav Centurion Death Star. I really like the Grav Centurion Death Star. It just sucks versus demons.
That it does.
Yeah, so like if I played this and I played Grav Centurions, I would lose.
Definitely
probably. Yeah, that's not a good game for me. But I demolish Ovessa Star, and like Jetlock Council just gets annihilated by Grav Star is essentially, to give you an idea, it's basically the buff commander that I run in the Ovessa Star that gives me Twin Link, ignores cover, in a unit of Grav Missile Centurions. So I get 25 to 30 AP2 shots that reroll the wound and reroll the hit and ignore cover, and they go against your armor save. So if you have a 2-up armor save, they wound on a 2+. So if you're playing like Jetlock Council or Ovessa Star or anything else heavily armored in the game, you just go away. Like you just take like 30 wounds and you don't get any saves and you just die.
So last thing, anything you can recommend anyone going to Adepticon or anyone who's playing at the local store, an insight to, as we already talked about, a Team ETC member, Nova 2013 best general, Adepticon 2012 master tactician, certainly an accomplished player. One point of advice you can give to any player playing at home?
Always pre-measure. This edition, pre-measure everything. Like, there's no reason not to pre-measure anymore. DeFrancis said it the other day, it was cheating in the last, like, 5 editions of the game. Pre-measure everything.
If the game's going to let you cheat, cheat.
Exactly.
All right, guys, we're going to be right back with Matt and John. We're going to hear about John. I know we have a lot of stuff going on. Great game.
Thanks.
We'll hope to see a lot more. So we'll bring them in the booth, guys, in a second.
Yep. I love you.
Nice game.
Good game.
Oh.
Hey guys, I'm here with John Parsons, winner of the game. Congratulations.
Draw.
I mean, a moral winner of the game, I'm going to say, just for my purposes, because I did not expect you to be able to do that. Real quick, I mean, what was it like a pivotal moment that you thought was really the way that changed?
All right, the pivotal moment before the game even started, I need to thank Nick Nanavati for building the Bastion. Bastion Jesus. We've played this flying monster creatures against Ovessa before, and every result has been a table. Not even a close table.
Right.
Just tabling.
Yeah, because Nick has played Justin before, and he has not done well with that.
Bastion Jesus.
Hashtag.
So go ahead.
All right. Let's look at the table real quick here and get some shots on this. So one of the things that you brought up to me was that the big question was why you didn't charge with the Demon Prince at the top here into that Sky Ray, and why you didn't do the same with the Lord of Change on the other side.
Okay, so my first reasoning was the wounds. I count up with my wounds, so while that looked like he had 3 wounds, some people, he has 1 wound. If I charge, then the Ovessa star with Monster Hunter goes into him, and then I go down 2 kill points, I lose an objective, I go down to 5 kill points, there's no way I can get it on primaries, so it just wasn't worth the risk. I mean, there's a chance his dice could have went wrong, but when I evaluated all my charges, charging the Farsight with the single suit gave me secondaries and primaries, or say I only smashed Farsight and got Farsight, and I got secondaries. And it minimizes Overwatch, and it minimizes chance for his dice to spike. So that's why I made that play.
Okay. What about that Prince? Could he that top Prince? Could he have flown further and used Flicker Fire on another unit? Because you already had with that Portaglyph play, you already had the objectives in Justin.
You know what? First of all, the Portaglyph had to go off, so it's a 4+ reroll. Can't risk it.
That's right. You can't bank on that. Sure.
Can't bank on that. Didn't want to bank on it. I saw no need to.
How about putting out some pink horrors to do real shots on the sky?
So the plan was, the first thing I thought was pink horrors. I measured, did some quick math in my head, nothing. I mean, I could have rolled it, whatever. There was almost nothing they could have done. You can't get 3 whole points. Okay. So it was a waste of time.
Okay.
Out of range of anything else that was worth firing at, that could have forced a check or anything.
Sure.
So just gotta be honest.
Okay. So that play down at the bottom at the end of the game when you went for Farsight, what was in your mind at that point?
All I gotta do is smash. I have prescience up. Hit on 3s, wound on 3s. Wound on 2s. Hit on 3s, wound on 2s. Fails to save. Now, I didn't challenge. I don't know why I didn't challenge. I didn't challenge because I got greedy. I was like, well, smash. I'll grab the 1 suit, 1 kill point. I mean, in hindsight, I was just caught up in the game, and, you know, it's not the first time I've made a demon mistake last turn of the game, but I whiffed. So I whiffed all of my dice, and he rolled a 1 on his leadership, so all he had to do was pass that 4+ save.
Double ones will beat you every time. I mean, that's even if you had challenged out and it went that way, it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, but you can't bank on that kind of stuff.
No.
The 3s and the 2s, it should have gone through no problem.
Dice, my
so I wouldn't have done anything different. I guess it seems like it's probably the best choice. I thought initially that you had 3 wounds on the top Demon Prince, so I thought the charge into Skyrim was the better play. But finding out that it was just 1, Jesse. But yeah, finding out that you had just 1, that was probably the better play. I think you did it right there. And to be honest, you played well. I was impressed.
I didn't see my. Alright, so when the Bastion did work. I mean, I didn't move for 3 turns. I didn't have to. There was no point to. I feel like a mistake. I feel like it's something I could have did. Now my plan worked. So on turn 3, on the Helldrake came on. My goal was to keep Fateweaver on the table with a 2+ rerollable and push that front suit. Sure. Now, failing Scryer's Gaze sucked. Let's be real, it sucked. I had to burn my reroll because I got to keep him off the board, which means I got 1 chance on Grim. Grim failed. I had to fight Fateweaver off the board. So it wasn't, I had options still, and it still could have worked. But if the plan had worked, Scryers gets cast, Fateweaver goes up, kills that troop, and that changes the outcome of the game. Now I failed, and so the Helldrake came on. I feel like I should have kept the Helldrake off.
Okay. You had the choice at that point. You had the Scryer's Gaze.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I should have kept them off in hindsight, but I mean, I was getting 2 kill points, and I didn't think he'd live.
Do you think you'd been able to get those 2 kill points without him? he was in your backfield. You probably could have gone after him with a different unit.
I would have had to fly off later. I feel like maybe, but you never know. And I would have had to fly off Fateweaver anyway. Probably. I think I can safely say that was a misplay. Okay. And that was a big misplay.
Yeah. Without Grim, it's tough though. I mean, you could have thrown you could have thrown Grim on top of the Helldrake himself. But that turn it wouldn't have mattered because it didn't go off.
Failing Scar's gaze, and then Justin, and then even then when I was way too aggressive with Fateweaver the next turn, I shouldn't have flown the Grim Prince off. Yeah. Or not. I mean, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have flown Fateweaver off because I could have flown in behind cover, Grimmed, and if I failed Grim, Fateweaver just goes off.
That's right.
So I banked on it, and I was stupid, but I did it, and it worked. But I feel like that was fate punishing me for being a bad player by trusting passing both of his denial witches.
Yeah, it can't beat that stuff. Double six, no, nothing for it. So real quick for the people at home to watch what's going on. What's your plan for Adepticon? Are you taking this list with you? Okay. You feel pretty confident?
Very after this game. So the only matchup I played Justin Newton with Searstar, and that was had the game lost on 4 or 5 and 6, 5 and 7, ended on 6. I got it. It was crazy.
Sure.
I've done well with it. This is actually the only loss I actually have is against Nick with it.
Okay.
So in 7 games, I'm 5-1-1 with it against mostly top-notch people.
Players, yeah?
Mostly top-notch people. There's only one game that wasn't against a good player with a good list. And that matchup, which was I volunteered for this game. I wanted to play Ovessa.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel very comfortable now. I have to play it tight, but
yeah,
it went from a tabling to decent shot.
Sure. I mean, as long as you play as tight as you did tonight, I think you'll be in a pretty good spot.
No booze on Thursday.
No booze. Yeah, you gotta wait till after you.
Nick, you're drinking all my booze for me.
Wait to lose before you drink the booze. You know? All right. Well, congrats and thanks again, man. It was an entertaining game to be sure.
Yeah, and we want to thank Stomping Grounds for helping us. I mean, Matt Serino does a great job with the store. This is most of his equipment. And he's the one who made all this happen, and I want to thank Matt Franzo and the rest of the team for putting on a good show. Good job, man. And I want to thank Frontline for the awesome mat they let us use. Table War, because Table War is just awesome. And Torn of Fire, because where would we be without Torn of Fire rankings? It was a cool show. I was better than Cook. Love you, Chip. And that's it.
Yeah, and personal thanks to the In Control Jeff Robinson for posting it up.
I tell you to sign up for
we appreciate his
Open,
stuff.
John.
So yeah, I mean, thanks a lot for all your help. Anybody else in the community who's got the chance to open up and help us out, we appreciate it. We're just trying to get this thing started. We're in beta testing now. Also, a shout out to Delaware GT in Delaware coming up in 2 weeks.
Week after Adepticon.
Week after Adepticon.
I posted our email address in the chat.
We have all of our links on the chat here. SG Video, just put them up.
You can email us.
Go ahead and link it up. Check out the websites. Check out everything you can. Subscribe, like, follow.
If you guys have any questions or comments about me, my name is Crewman on all the forums, Dak and all that. So if you want to tell me I played bad, tell me anything, tell me I played good. I'm here to know.
Bring him out, Mr. Sniffles over here, no problem. All right, guys. Yeah, well, thanks a lot for tuning in. Next week, or not next week, but the following week, we're gonna have another Gamecast on Wednesday. You'll see this posted up on our past videos. Well, it'll also be on our YouTube page, along with this weekend's tournament and some battle reports that'll be coming out and a few hobby videos.
Let them know we're gonna cut the stream, and we're gonna put the stream back on so we can work on some audio issues. There's gonna be no video or anything like that.
Okay, guys, just thanks again. We're gonna be disconnecting now, so have a good night. Thanks for tuning in, and come back again next time. But just so you all know, we're gonna cut it off and come back in for a little bit later. We're gonna test out some of the audio issues that we were having and try to figure them out. All right, I'll have a good night. Thanks again.
Oh my God.